Hello, friends. We're back again. January 22nd, 2023. Virtual Strangers, episode 173. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, feels like home, don't it?
It does, actually. Yeah, it felt like it was extended time away from home, right? Somebody's saying in the chat, really want Polybius to get a PSVR 2 update. Me too. I think that would be an interesting game to play with, enhanced everything.
You know, when we were talking during the intro just then, and I said I expect most of these games will come to PSVR 2, except for my very favorite ones.
That was one.
That
of them.
was one of the. That was one of the games I was talking about. Actually,
yeah. Well, who knows? You know, it's a missed opportunity for any developer that doesn't want to make more money, right? Whole new platform, superior hardware, and a lot of new people coming into VR that aren't gonna, that are gonna be new. So.
It might happen. It might happen, and the only reason I'm skeptical about it at all is it never came to Quest. Never came to Quest. It's like this game specifically in its day was notorious for not making money. Like I remember that it was like years before the dev even broke even on it and got into profit. But that would make you assume that Polybius would come to the first ever VR platform that had 10 million users. You know what I mean? But no, never came. The only reason I still hold out a little bit of hope that it'll come to PSVR 2 is maybe it's not that hard to port from PSVR 1 to PSVR 2 because it's a gamepad game, right? I mean, it's not like it's a flat game with a VR mode and it's a gamepad game. So, I mean, it's not like it would be that hard. And imagine playing that in 4K at a full 120 hertz. I mean, this is one of two games on PS4 VR that ran at 120 hertz. Although it was the kind of, extrapolated 120 where, it renders at 60 and then they make it in the 120. That it could probably do a pure, like real 120 on next gen hardware.
Yeah. Plus, you got to think that Windlands 2 is now coming to Quest 2 soon, and we didn't think that was going to happen. So, I mean, there's still games that could come out on it, although it's been a while, and it's a game that we would have thought would have made sense. Like you said, there's so many people that have the Quest 2s in their hand, and it's perfect for what it is, right? So
Windlands 2 is a great example too, by the way, of optimization, which is something we've talked about on this program since the very earliest days. Over time, these devs and hardware developers get more out of less. And it's funny because with Quest and standalone in general, the life cycle is so short in terms of real time, 2 to 3 years. You wouldn't think that there would be much optimization going on, but if you think back to what Quest was when it launched versus what it can do now with all the advancements, given there's been a lot of jank that's came with these advancements, it's pretty amazing. I mean, a year ago, we would have put money that we would never see Windlands 2 on Quest because of it's a big open world with way far draw distances, and it's just not suited well to weaker hardware. But here we are, and here it comes.
I could have sworn I read an article a while back saying it couldn't be done on that hardware because of the open world, or maybe that was just our discussion of why it hadn't been done. And then Zenith came along and we were like, okay, I don't know what the hell they did, but how come? I think I even said it. How come Windlands 2, all these games that said you couldn't do it, you can do it, and then they come out with it. Bluebell throwing $9.99 says the start of a fun so Roots can attend to the next CES. Welcome back, guys. Hey, I think that's a good plan. I would love to attend the next CES or next.
It would have been great.
Next anything, although timing of everything in my life would have been like just not possible, but it definitely would have been cool.
See, that's me, like from a year ago. Like, even if I had the money and I had the press pass and I had the time off work, still wouldn't have been able to do it. The timing was wrong last year. This year it worked out. But let me tell you, dude, it takes money. Like, it damn near broke me going to stay in Vegas for a week.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine going for a week. I don't think it would have been that long for me. I can't even imagine what I would do for a full week. there. I guarantee there were. Now, granted, you and Michelle were spending time hanging out, and that was part of the vacation. But I would have been sliding in there for the show and getting the hell out of there.
But you were missed. I actually have a picture in my folder here called "Something's Missing," and in the picture there's Todd and Eric, there's Alex and Skiva, there's the guys from Rendered Reality, Sean and Tyler, and then me. So what's missing from the picture, right?
Yeah, that sucks, man. But like you said, for next time. And I saw Spry Guy's picture today of my his cup. He said he put a little beard on the outside of the cup because it was bothering him. I need to make a new picture at least, or maybe another cup, but with the beard, because that's not me anymore. So
yeah, that's a different guy. That's that guy that was a virtual stranger to me all those years ago.
Yeah, that's right. That's the old Roots. That's the jerk Roots.
Past Roots.
Yeah,
past
Roots.
Roots.
That's right.
So glad to be back, peeps. I'm glad everyone saw fit to join us during this NFL playoff Sunday. Thank you to those of you who are here. My team is playing too, guys. Not only is my team playing San Francisco, they're playing my least favorite team, which is Dallas. And I heard we had some Dallas fans in the chat, and if that's true, sorry about the ban that you're about to get.
Yeah, that's right. Don't speak it out loud. No, actually, we don't really care on that. But yeah, no, it's definitely a cool time to not watch football for me. But I know those people that love it, and go whatever team you want to win. I'll be generic about it. And I'll root for the 49ers for Wes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I say that like I'm an avid football fan. I was for many, many years. I lived and died by what my team did. Honestly, I just found out we were in the playoffs after we won the wild card game last week. I was like, oh, we're still in it. Yeah. So it looks like we won our division, and which is good because I did pay a little bit of attention at the start of the season, and it was kind of hit and miss there for a while. Our quarterback injured as always, and I don't know. I just didn't have a whole lot of faith that we were going to make it through. But here we are. We have strong defense, as always, and we're in a good position. If we win today, we might take it all the way.
You know who loves to be in the right position to take it all the way? My mom! Sadly, it's Bradley. Says, hello, strangers. And then he says exactly what I say. What the hell is a football? I used to know what it was. But I literally actually had a mechanic guy that works on our vehicles was asking me to go to the Super Bowl because I told him that. I was like, I haven't watched it for I haven't watched any football for like 7 years, 6 years. I don't even know. It's been a while. But I'm just not, the commercials aren't even good anymore. Like at least I used to have that. And then the food.
They can't even hit the quarterback anymore. Like that's strictly prohibitive.
Really?
I mean that you can, but there's rules to it. Like Christian Okoye couldn't exist in this league. He would get banned just because of he would be murdering quarterbacks. They took the head trauma out of football. What the hell's going on with the world today?
Well, I mean, I can kind of get behind it, but at the same time, there's still got to be ways to, I just don't want it to turn into football where they don't even get hit and they roll around on the ground for 30 minutes, until the ref says to move on, and then they hop back up like nothing ever happened. I don't know if you've seen much soccer when that happens, but it is the craziest fake. I don't know. It's just weird.
So Paradise Decay says football. I suppose he would be happier if we were talking about Manchester United or something. But this is America, bro. It's not what we do here.
No, but I do get it. Like you said, I used to be so into it. So I can't begrudge anybody. If ever anybody's really into it, I say the world's so crazy. And if you found something that you find joy in, enjoy it. Don't let me talk smack about it because because I don't find it enjoyable anymore. That doesn't mean other people don't. So
here's to that. And we all need our distraction. And that's largely what VR has become to me. And it's probably the reason I don't watch so much football anymore. So why don't we talk a little bit about VR? I'm really excited to get into today's show. We've got a little different show than we normally have. Like normally we would go down headlines and all that, but I realized that there's a lot of stuff I haven't talked about yet with CES. I mean, I've told everybody how awesome the parties were, um, but I haven't really talked much on the hardware, and I've got 100 gigabytes of footage here that I haven't released a video out of yet. And I thought we would talk a little bit about the VR headsets that I played with at CES. Now, disclaimer, I'm just talking about VR headsets today. There was a lot more stuff like mixed reality headsets like Magic Leap and the Lynx R1 and a wide variety of accessories, haptic gloves, and all that stuff. We're going to save that one, shelf it for another day. And also, before I go off on a big tangent talking about the parties and all the people that I met, um, like we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait until we have Eric here for that. Met a lot of cool people, a lot of friends. I met in person for the first time. We'll probably delve into that side of it on Wednesday. But what we're going to do is talk about a few headsets that I got to play with at the expo this year, and then we're going to talk a little bit about games. This is a game show, right? We're going to talk a little bit about the PSVR 2 launch lineup, which had some unexpected surprises in it last week, and I'm getting hyped. You know, Roots, it's 1 month,
Crazy.
exactly 1 month to the day until these things start getting in people's hands, and as long as we've been waiting, I mean, that's going to seem like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, time's flying by too, and everything's just you turn around and it's been a month, so it's going to it's definitely going to fly by. Brandon wants to say happy birthday to Spry Guy. I was also going to wish him a happy birthday as well, again. And Eric says, "Yo, yo, yo! I made it, Mash Daddy." Cool. But
Well, here let me ask you, Roots, how good are you at changing stuff up on the fly? I hate to throw you
no, it depends
curveballs
on what.
here.
Yeah, I should be able to just link whatever you want to put in there.
Well, I had somebody just now DM me and say, "You got room for one more?"
Oh yeah, actually, I just would have to switch the things real quick, but it should be fine. Is it
I
somebody
mean,
that is supposed to be in here normally?
no,
Okay,
no,
so
no.
let me see.
Somebody I invited a few days ago. We don't have to make it look all neat and pretty. We'll bring him in a minute, and we can just throw him in like in between us down there and continue on. And I mean, unless you want me to throw you an overlay, I've got one
If
for it.
yeah, if you got an overlay for me, just link it in the thing, and I can switch it from. I'll switch it.
Yeah, sweet.
Let's work on it.
Let me confirm with the guest.
All you are is history wants to know if it's their mom. I don't think it is. How crazy would that be if it was one of your moms all of a sudden was just on there?
As a matter of fact, here she is now. Sorry, I'm typing.
I was expecting suddenly to switch, but I was like, I'm the one that's switching it, so that ain't happening. Um, hey, great tantrum, what's up?
Oh, Eric's here. Eric checking in from New York City.
New York City.
Get
Get a rope. Oh,
all right, let me see here. So
commercials.
yeah, just a second here. I'm getting your overlay for you, Roots. This is what makes our show special is that we'll just do shit like this.
Yeah.
Put it together as we go and figure it out as we go. You know, if we didn't do this, something else would fuck up anyway. So
That's right. We'll let this be on purpose, right?
yeah. Now, what you could do for me as I'm doing this for you,
Send you a link.
send me a link. You got it, bro.
All right.
Rebrand and overlays. There we go.
Oh man, I'm blanking on the name of the stupid program we use. Oh yeah, never mind.
Ninja. Yeah.
Video.
All right. So here comes your overlay, and of course my dog starts barking at me. By the way, while we're on dogs, I want to send some happy birthday wishes out there to Peanut. Happy birthday, Peanut. Saw that on my social media yesterday. Well, there. Damn. All right, hold on. My bad.
Okay, let me put it in here.
And boom. All right, here we go. There's mine and there's yours.
Okay.
So copy. Sorry about this, guys. I'm
Yeah.
almost.
Well, they're getting to take a look at your cool picture, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, did you switch over already? All right, that's cool. We could talk about that a little bit. These are just some of the people that I got to meet while I was in Vegas. And to give you some kind of idea about just how many people were at this specific party, this was the last picture of the night. These are the people who closed the bar with us, and they're not all of them are even in there.
Really?
And people, every time I've showed this picture to people, people ask me if I'm really that tall because I'm standing there with Skiva, who's a Goliath. Everyone knows this. No, I'm not that tall. I'm standing on a stool. What people don't know is the person taking this picture is also standing on a stool, and he's also very drunk and just about wiped out. It was the night almost ended very badly, Roots, because this guy had one. It were the bar stools that turn like swiveling bar stools, and he had 1 foot on one stool and 1 foot on another.
My God. That's
drunk, trying to take a picture. Yeah, it wasn't good. He like both stools started turning in opposite directions, and he did the twist. But I gotta hand it to him. He didn't drop the camera. He got a great shot and made it home.
He did the twist. Wow.
He did do the twist.
I don't even know what the twist is. Well, I kind of do, I guess. But I'm hearing the stream. I think a little bit probably. I thought it was mine for a second there.
Probably coming in with the joiner.
Okay. I think so. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be, everything's good when I switch it in. It's just every scene I'm going to have to go ahead and fix it. I'll do that while we're on that scene.
Sure. But
okay.
we'll draw the first one out. And actually a couple of other things here that I'll ask him about because he got to do some stuff I didn't get to do. So without further ado,
we're good. We should be able to switch over. Ready? Yeah.
Yep. Let's go.
Why is the stream on me? This is
boom.
This is terrible. I mean, hi.
Hi, Brad. How's it going? Oh, Brad's not with us in Discord, so I can't hear him.
Oh, okay. So if you want to jump into Discord real quick, actually, I might.
Brad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say I might be able to. I don't know how I'd be able to do it without echoing.
Yeah, that's just going to. Yeah, it's going to cause problems. Brad, if you don't mind, since we can't hear you, I don't know if you can hear us.
I don't.
Give me a thumbs up if you can hear us, Brad.
You guys, is there a Discord call?
He'll hear us delayed, probably.
Yeah, maybe. I'll send him a text here to.
Well, you guys are getting to see Brad at least. I'm gonna start working on these other scenes while we're changing theirs to what we have going on here. I gotta add every single one down there. Not complaining, just saying. I'm watching to see if when he comes into the Discord.
I'll just send him a message, so he should be popping over any moment.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right, I think we're We're good now.
Okay.
Or we're
This
about
should
to
do
be
it.
good anyway. Hopefully. Anyway, as I was saying, Brad got to do some stuff that I didn't get to do, and I have actually a few things I want to ask him about. He says he needs permit. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go.
All right, you're in.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
That was on
Sorry.
our
I'm
end.
really No. Hi, everyone. Sorry.
Hello, Brad. No apologies necessary. You know, we don't run a tight ship around here. We're not a very professional outfit, so we don't care to take 5 minutes to bring in a friend. You know, I wanted to have you on anyway. You know that because there was a lot of stuff that you got to do during CES that I didn't get to do. I was a victim of my own scheduling, and I spent way too much time in Ubers. I don't know if that was the case for you, but I missed out on a lot that I would have liked to try.
Yeah, there was a lot of I just want to say last year was my first CES and there was like literally nothing to do and I couldn't even find like private meetings to see special things, let alone find interesting things on the show floor because it was still kind of COVID times. But this year was like way the opposite of that for sure.
It was like tenfold, right?
For sure. I was talking to people and they said this year is like 60% of what pre-COVID CES is, so it still can get even bigger.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You know, we made the mistake of trying to book appointments for everything that we were interested in, like even like small startups that were just kind of interesting. So what that did is it had us at like 4 different convention centers every day, traveling back and forth. And as you know, that travel was pretty tough, especially as the week went on. But a lot of that stuff, you know, we probably could have just walked into. So it was a learning experience in how to schedule. Hopefully next year will be a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. Because like you might have stuff that's like booked for the Central Hall show floor, and then you realize your next meeting is at a suite in the Venetian, and then you realize you booked like you have to go both ways back and forth for a whole day, and you're like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. This is impossible. There's like 30-minute traffic in LA or Las Vegas. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I didn't get to try the Vario, and I know that you did. Did they tell you what floor that it was on, or did you have like the same problem that we did? Because the Ruuts, the way that these floors work is like every floor has the same room numbers on it. So they just gave us a room number to come to, and when we get there, we asked the hotel staff, you know, what floor is this room on? And they're like, every floor. And then we couldn't get in. Like we tried to message them, and you know, obviously they're very busy, and by the time that we found out where we needed to go, we were already in the car on our way to our next appointment.
What a bummer, man. And I know you really wanted to try that headset, right?
Yeah, because everyone told me it's the standard. Is it still the standard, Brad?
I would say it is for like clarity for sure, and mixed reality actually. Like, you know, when you try it, it makes you hate the Quest Pro even more. Like honestly, like especially the mixed reality stuff about it, because it's like, I wouldn't like I said I did a video and I said this, but it's like it's not like true to life, but like the stuff that they can overlay in your environment is just so high resolution because you know they're connected to a PC and the cameras are like, it's really good. Like it is really good, and what's crazy about it is it's technically. I mean, I know they updated it a little bit. That what they showed was the focal edition, which basically all that means is they changed the cameras a little bit, the focal point of the cameras to do better mixed reality. But it's still pretty much the same package as the original XR3, which came out almost 2 to 3 years ago. But yeah, the industry still has a lot of catching up to do when it comes to this headset, I would say, for sure.
I'd say that was the story of my headset demos at CES is everything I try makes me hate Quest Pro even more. Now, I say that and it's going to trigger some people. I don't really hate it. I haven't used it enough to hate it. I did get to demo it for the first time in the hotel room before we went out on the expo floor, and it was pretty cool. But pretty much everything everything that I did during the event, all the demos of modern, ready to launch, consumer facing headsets, they were all better than that, with the exception of the PIMAX Portal, which we'll get to in a few minutes. What else, Brad? Did you demo anything unexpected that really surprised you?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I always come into these events like having.
Nothing surprises you.
I don't know. I came out of the event feeling. So here's how I put it. If last year, 2022 CES was like a 2 out of 10 for VR, that's what I would have rated it. I think this CES was like more 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 for me in terms of how like I felt about everything. And really, the best thing what really bothers me the most is it's the Consumer Electronics Show. So it's supposed to be all consumer stuff, but a lot of that stuff is like not actually going to be consumer for VR. And the best consumer item, I think, on the show floor or anything was still the PlayStation VR 2. And even that still has some little kinks I think they need to work out still there. But I don't know. There wasn't really anything that blew my mind. I was excited to see the Sharp. Sharp had a private thing at the Win, and it was kind of cool because I got to meet the chief technical officer of Sharp and everything, and they're trying to sell TVs to me too, but like they're selling they're talking LCDs still to an OLED shill or whatever. So but yeah, they had like a weird demo of like some components, and their demo was terrible, like actually awful. They were running it off of like it looked like a 2-year-old smartphone that's like definitely not designed to run VR or anything. And I can't believe they're showing off these components for what they're probably like super high pixels per inch, like, and they said that their pancake lenses are like the highest efficiency of any pancake that is sold right now. But their demo is just so bad, and I don't, it's very disappointing. They wouldn't tell me any info about the thing. So, and I felt like a lot of the show floor was kind of like that as well. It's like I would go to things and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's all right. What's the price? Oh, okay, yeah. All right, next booth. What do you got here? Okay, I can imagine maybe some large companies buying this. I can't imagine any consumers buying this, and I feel like that's still the theme of the show this year for me.
Yeah, I saw a lot of things that kind of fall into that category as well. Sharp kind of surprises me that they're even in the space at all, because my history with this, obviously it's known, in my region, it's known as a television manufacturer, but one that really fell off the map 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It was kind of a budget brand last time I saw it. So to hear that they're working on this type of high-end stuff, even if the demo is a bit janky, is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, they're actually a pretty big supplier for VR already. I think they had a lot to do with the Quest 2 displays, for example, and I want to say the Reverb G2 displays are Sharp as well. So they are in a lot of headsets, you just don't know. I think they are kind of still that budget tier. I hate to say it because like they're owned by Foxconn, and they're a lot of LCD companies are kind of struggling right now because the technology has gotten so cheap to the fact that any Chinese manufacturer can just build a fab with like no cost. So they're competing in like they're trying to get out of this low end display category, and VR is kind of like the one place that they were able to obviously make some bank, even though the volumes are nowhere near TVs and everything. And it was kind of funny because the one thing that the Sharp booth did have was their first mass market OLED TV from Sharp, which they're not historically an OLED company. So you just see like the tides are changing, and they need to keep up, because I don't think, um, yeah, I don't think that they are going to be the even the choice for VR over the long term.
Who knows? Maybe they can sign a deal with PIMAX and they can evolve together, huh?
Very possible.
Well,
Anyway,
maybe.
I keep throwing shots at PIMAX, and we're going to get to them. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit um, about the day before. You know, Eric and I and Todd, we all went in a few days early, and that meant that we were there Wednesday for the press conferences. And although this was something I was looking forward to, I got to say this was a big regret for me because these things were so boring. Just about everyone that we went to focused on primarily energy efficiency. Like we're going expecting at least new televisions or something to be revealed, and every talk is about saving energy and saving the environment, and it was very difficult to stay awake. But then just after lunch, we go to the Canon, uh, the Canon press conference, and we were surprised by pretty quickly at the top when, as you can see here, M. Night Shyamalan walks out on stage, starts talking about his new movie and their mixed reality experience that they're going to be showing off in the on the expo floor. And the funny thing about it is, you know, Canon, a company that's primarily known for cameras and printers, this was probably the best press conference that I saw, including the Sony one, because this press conference specifically was about VR from start to finish. They didn't talk about anything that wasn't VR, and it was a pretty big surprise to me, but a pleasant one. It was something that we needed after that travesty that Panasonic put forth.
Yeah, Canon even last year had like a pretty big VR focus, but it was mostly on their, they have that camera lens that you can do like snap into their cameras, and it's the two stereoscopic recording stuff. I'm did you get to go to their like actual show floor demo or anything?
Next slide, Ruuts. As a matter of fact, I did. And I was pretty impressed with it. You know, there were some big displays on the expo floor. As you know, a lot of this stuff very shiny and sparkly. But I was surprised when I got out there and there was literally a cabin in the middle of the floor. Now, Canon was running 3 different demos for 3 different types of XR technology. But this one in specific is the one that M. Night Shyamalan came out to talk about. Obviously, he has a movie coming out next month, a horror movie or a thriller called Knock at the Cabin. So they've kind of tried to recreate this on the show floor. So there was literally a cabin on the show floor with like fake turf and fake trees everywhere. And it was a big thing. And once you walk inside the cabin, they had a mixed reality demo going on, and we all got a chance to take part in that. The technology itself, well, let me ask you, Brad, did you do this demo?
I never got time to do it, unfortunately.
The technology that was on display wasn't perfect, as you would expect. There were some kinks, especially in their video teleconferencing tech. So they have this teleconferencing tech where they're superimposing your face over the picture of your headset. You're standing in a virtual environment, you and the person you're talking to in another city. But instead of seeing them wearing the headset, they kind of superimpose the picture of your eyes over the headset, and it can make a few different expressions. But there was really a whole lot of latency in the audio. So while it looked pretty cool, the virtual environments were pretty cool. Like it was nearly impossible to have a conversation because there was literally like 10 seconds of latency in the audio. So like, you know, the person would start on the next their next sentence or whatever it is they're trying to say from their script, and then my answer to the first question interrupts them, and it was just constantly like that. I could see where they're going with it, and I think there is a practical application for it, but it's not there quite yet. But in terms of this demo, Roots, if you don't care to show the video, you walk inside this cabin, and it literally is a mixed reality demo. They have the inside of the cabin. It's just an empty room, and the walls are all made up as if it's a real cabin. And they hand you this mixed reality like visor that you hold up to your eyes, so you can't like wear the thing. They wanted people holding it, and this is what you see when you look through the thing: is you see these virtual objects kind of overlaid into the real world, and you play through this little 2-minute scenario where these people are trying to get in the cabin, and you're trying to block the doors, you're trying to close the windows and all this. And it was literally, you just walk up to whatever it is they're telling you to do and touch it with your hand, and it just moves itself into place. But it was pretty cool. You know, it isn't a video game, right? Like, it was very game-like, but it's really meant to, you know, one, show off their mixed reality tech, which actually worked pretty good for the type that it was, and at the same time promote this movie, which, you know, was a clever way to use XR to promote. But no, it was one of the cooler things that I did. You know, obviously there was some jank involved, as you can see here, but it was fun.
Did you see how much they're trying to sell those headsets you're holding for?
Is that something that they're actually trying to sell?
Yeah. You want to guess the price?
$2,500.
One more guess. Come on.
All right. I'm gonna go $3,500. $1, Bob.
$38,000.
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
What?
It's called the M-Reel. Not N-Reel, M-Reel 2. Second generation.
So is this one of those things?
38,000.
One of these things you're talking about, that this is not the consumer's headset, right? 38 grand. Wow.
And it does not come with the cabin.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I could build a better cabin for less money than that.
That's crazy.
Roots, if you don't mind switching over to the other video, people can get a look at what this thing actually looks like. So it wasn't a finished headset. It was just like this visor with handles on.
One. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. This thing I'm holding, it's got all these little spikes sticking off the top of it for tracking, and literally you're just hold this thing up to your eyes and look through it like a ViewMaster. For what it's worth, I mean, it looked good. Like the overlay into the real world was clear. It wasn't ghosty at all, and for what it was good. $38,000 good? No, probably not.
Would you have held it a little differently? Because if I'd known it was worth $38,000, I'd be afraid I was going to drop it or something. Be like, oh God, I'd get pissed.
I probably would have tried to throw it in my backpack as I was leaving.
Oh man,
This is kind of the problem with Canon as well. Is like, even their last year product, there's the lenses. I think they're like, those lenses were just like already like $2,000, but then also you have to pay a subscription to use the software to be able to stitch the lens stuff together. Yeah. So I'm like, I see Canon every year with the VR stuff. I'm like, you guys are wilding right now.
For real. Like, well, at least they're trying, right? Maybe after they hone in their tech a little bit, they'll let the market kind of dictate their prices a little bit more.
Well, this is my perfect example for me as far as where this AR stuff is right now, because you know, this is something that's $38,000, clearly has the production money behind it compared to anything else out there, and it's what I would expect of almost everything you're going to get out of AR. It's a tech demo. It's a tech demo, and it's going to be a tech demo for a year or two. And so that's why I would never rush out. Everyone's like, oh, it's not going to, you know, maybe a year. I don't know. Right now we don't have that many. We've got a couple, Demio, that type of stuff, but there's just not that much out there. And so I just couldn't get that excited. It's cool to see where it's going, but it'd be like me wanting to go into VR tech demos. I don't, you know what I mean? And AR is no different than me, but I think it'd be cool to check out. And then the other thing is that I don't want to be holding anything up like it's a mask from a masquerade ball, you know, like going around. That's I want to put it on my head and then walk around. I don't know if that's just something that I guess.
They had a line, and this is just a tactic to get people in and out more
gotcha.
quickly.
I
You know,
gotcha.
they didn't have to fit it to people's head if they make them just hold it up to their eyes.
I
And as
gotcha.
quick as it was, I mean, you saw how quick it was. It was just a couple minutes. It really kind of made sense the way they were doing it.
Tech wants to know if
but
it gets channel 5. I don't think so, Tech. Probably not.
I didn't try to change the channel, but that's a good question. Maybe next year we'll do that.
There's also like a weird developer concept when it comes to mixed reality. Like, you know, they built this entire perfectly sized, perfectly spec space just for their expensive thing to work, right? You know, like, how are developers going to be able to expect where to place things in tons of different size rooms? And like, it's even harder than VR. That was one reason room scale VR kind of just went away for a while. It's just like, it was impossible for developers to expect so many different room sizes and shapes and stuff. And now we're going to kind of bring that back with the mixed reality stuff. I'm not sure stuff like this is going to be anywhere near consumers, like these types of experiences.
Yeah, nothing like this.
Yeah.
Although I do expect, and I'm sure you'll agree that we're going to see some pretty big advancement in the MR gaming space in next year, right? With we kind of expect that this is the feature that the next Quest is going to be built around. So I'm sure that developers are plugging away at games right now for the next headset. Anyway, I just wanted to show this off to people because it was something cool and unexpected that I got to do at CES. But let's get into the nitty gritty a little bit. And I've beat around the bush long enough. Let's talk a little bit about PIMAX, because PIMAX had 2 demos going on this year, the same ones that people have been trying for the last few months now at various different events. The PIMAX Crystal, which is their next consumer-facing headset, supposed to eventually be work as a standalone, although I'm not so sure how soon that's going to happen. But the good thing is it kind of works as a PCVR headset, a super high-res PCVR headset right now. And I tried the version with the inside-out tracking. I played Pistol Whip on it, as well as Kayak VR Mirage. And I got to say, Brad, I was pretty impressed with this, actually. The display was super high res, and the field of view, while not like mind blowing, I think it was 140 degrees or whatever. It was certainly a step up, and the tracking wasn't bad. It was better than I expected. I'll say that.
Yeah, they did a lot of work for sure on the software stuff since I tried it at the roadshow, and yeah, the people that were working on the software side, I think, did a fantastic job. They were probably working day and night just to get us ready for CES. I can only imagine. But
The guy told me, he told me, he asked me about the tracking, and I said, yeah, it works good. He said 2 weeks ago it wasn't so great. That literally they just got a grip on it right before CES.
yeah, I totally believe it because I wasn't even gonna come to this booth because I was pretty sure there was gonna be no way they could have improved it so much from when I tried it like literally like a month before or whatever. But they did make some improvements. Yeah, it's interesting. I still it's good. Like it's trying to do. I think as a PCVR headset, if they can figure out all the other kinks that come with it, it's starting to be closer to what I would say people should maybe keep an eye on. Before it was like don't even look at it. It really bothers me still because like the shell the shell they're using for it just makes it so front heavy and bulky when it really doesn't need to be with the displays and lenses
Right.
they're using. Like that shell is definitely designed for like super wide.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
repurposed 8KX or something, right?
yeah, pretty much, and it really doesn't need to be that. It's just they're trying, they're trying to use the same injection molds as their future 12K if that ever comes out or
That makes
exists or
sense.
whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's still weird because the displays they're using are pretty much they are the same displays as the Vario Aero. It's just they're using way better optics than the Vario Aero is, and I it's still weird because I don't know if I really whenever I wear this thing, it feels just like I don't know if I really want to go back to that. Even me who like loves high end PC VR, I don't know if I want to go back to these like super giant front bricks on my face, and that's kind of where I always kind of come back to the Pimax thing when it really doesn't need to be like this. It really does not need to be this giant design. Um, Fun fact: the panel, it's very easy for them to get a huge FOV, and they have a very large panel. The pixels per inch of that panel is the same pixels per inch as the Pico 4 panels. It's just a bigger panel. So like, I don't know if I had to choose between the Pimax and like a Pico 4 for that clarity, you're kind of getting almost the same, except with the Pico 4, it's like pancake lenses. It's much smaller. It's more comfortable on your face. So I don't know. I'm always weird when it comes to these kind of headsets. I don't think these kind of things will. I feel technology is improving really fast in the displays and lenses technology that in like a year or two, people are gonna look at these things and be like, well, this is lower resolution and like huger than what I can get for around the same price range is what I feel is gonna happen soon. So it's always in the
Yeah,
back of my mind when I try Pimax
these
stuff.
pictures are going to come up in the context of can you believe that this is what VR used to be?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Exactly.
while really it isn't, because I mean, how many people actually have these headsets? Not many. Um, One of the things that confused me about this is the interchangeable lens system that they have in it. So it doesn't have fixed lenses in it. You can swap them out. One of them gives you a little more field of view. The other gives you a little bit more pixel density. And what I found was when I switched from the larger field of view to the one that's supposedly more pixel dense, I didn't get a very big bump in resolution, um, but the difference in field of view was pretty noticeable. I didn't really care for it with the smaller lenses on it. What do you think about this thing that they've got going on here with the lenses?
I still stand. I was really harsh on that gimmick in my video, and I'm still very harsh on that gimmick after trying those what they call it 40 pixels per degree lenses. That that FOV you're talking about is so awful. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine one per. They're saying like, oh, we're people might use this for productivity purposes, and then it comes back to the fact where it's like, I can't imagine anyone. It's already hard for people to imagine themselves wearing this like thin and light headset for productivity, and you're gonna put people in that giant bulky thing with like a tiny FOV looking at spreadsheets. There's no way. Like, and then and this is something I keep running into. At least that's what they keep saying. I had an issue with the regular lenses where the focal length or whatever was just like things super near me was super clear, and then things past a certain point were just like extremely blurry. And then I'll leave the demo, and then they'll say, "Oh, it's because the lenses weren't placed correctly on
Oh
the damn
God.
thing." So it's like, okay, why can't it just be easily just attached to the housing, just make it sure it's like optimized right out of the factory lines, so people don't have to worry about this and have terrible demos all the time. Because I think even Road to VR just published their review of it as well, and they also have like weird issues with blurriness, and none of us can figure out what's going on because some people say it's amazingly clear, and those are probably the people where they actually magnetically attached it and it didn't move, right? Yeah. And then other people are like, I can't get the perfect image. It's like it's just such a terrible, it's such a terrible gimmick. I hate it. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't notice any blurriness. But I did. I was playing Pistol Whip. It
Mm.
wasn't like I was in Half Life Alex or or I did try kayak VR when I had the crap lenses on it, but when my good experience, my best experience was playing Pistol Whip. Oddly enough, I think they were just trying to show off their tracking, and they told me I should go over to the other booth with the external trackers and play Half Life, but I'd already seen at that point what I wanted to see. Um, you might notice here, Brad, by omission, uh, that there's no footage that I'm sharing of the other headset, the PIMAX. What's it called, Brad? The
Portal.
Nintendo Switch thing that they're doing.
Yeah, PIMAX Portal.
Portal,
Portal to
yeah,
a terrible reality.
yeah. I'm not so sure that market that product's ever going to hit the market, because while the displays in it weren't bad, I mean the barrel distortion was just the worst I've ever seen. It was so bad.
I'm like
I
you,
don't.
Brad. I couldn't put that. Just at least on this one, though, the weight and the I want lighter headsets, less hot headsets, and then you want to give me this heavier headset. I'm like, no, man. I want to go the other direction, not backwards, especially for something that I've thought was a gimmick all along. Although some people swear by it, like so much so that they're willing to put their software on there, which that's another thing. Pimax software is really weird, funky. I don't know that I would want it on my computer.
Yeah. I actually opened the Steam VR dashboard, and then it made the entire system, the PC, like go to 0 FPS basically, and they had to like restart the whole thing. So yeah, it's still a problem. On the Portal, I didn't revisit it because everyone at the show said it was terrible. So I that was the one thing I didn't care to
It was
revisit
bad.
and see if it got better since my last thing. But yeah,
It
I
was
don't think
it
it's worth
was
it as a. I don't
it
even
was
think it's worth
good
it as a
right in the
tablet
middle.
because you have so many. That is a very that market is starting to be very saturated. You have a lot of choices there, and I don't think this VR turn into a VR headset is worth it for that
Yeah,
product. So yeah.
yeah. It's weird because they're basically what they're doing here is they're trying to piggyback on the success of Nintendo Switch and Steam Deck, but their handheld doesn't have the same type of features that those devices have, and then they're trying to sell it with a gimmick, which is basically Gear VR. You know, this is what we wanted to get away from, right? And they're trying to take us back to like 2016, um, where people were slotting cell phones into their headsets and thinking that this is what VR is. And again, it would be different if it worked well, but it didn't even really work well. Um, so I kind of walked away from that like, man, they still have a long way to go.
It
But I
just
would. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, sorry. It's just like what you're kind of saying. It's like the largest companies on earth tried it. Google tried it. Samsung tried it. Meta tried it. All of them gave up because it's a dead market. Pimax, who is not even probably 1/100th of the market share or funding, they're not going to crack into it. So yeah.
You know, it even made more sense back in the day when it was based on cell phones because at least on the cell phone model, you're getting a new display every 2 years and your resolution's going to bump. Uh, with this, I mean, I've yeah, I'm not going to go on and on about it. I really didn't plan on talking about it at all. Um, you know, in all honesty, I was impressed with the Crystal. The display was amazing. The tracking was good. It was a bit big and bulky, um, but I can honestly say that this is the most clarity that I've ever seen in a VR headset, and I was pretty impressed with it. Anyway, the surprise of the show for me, what I was not expecting, is that I was going to be able to demo something that is that would stop my 5 year assault on HTC. This is the HTC Vive XR Elite. Elite XR, I always get them backwards. This is the next HTC headset, which is up for pre order right now. This is basically their take on like a Quest Pro style headset only it has some features that the Quest Pro don't have, and it pretty much does everything better than the Quest Pro, from what I could tell from my couple of demos that I got a chance to try. Brad, I'm sure you got to play around with the Flocus, right?
I actually didn't get to try this headset.
Or you didn't get to try? Oh man, this was the surprise of the show to me. Just how good this actually was. The pass through was markedly more clear than the pass through on the Quest Pro. I mean, it wasn't like night and day difference, but there was definitely more clarity. You could read text on your cell phone and stuff pretty easily. There was some weird distortion when you brought the controllers up into your field of view. It's like things got wavy around it, like you were moving your hands through water. But if you keep your hands out of your field of view, everything's very clear. What really surprised me about it was the quality of the software. Like, I played Hubris on it first, which is a pretty high-end indie PC VR title. This was a standalone version of it that wasn't tethered to a PC in any way. Admittedly, they threw this build together in less than a month. The guys told me they just threw this together, and the step down graphically from the PCVR version was minimal. Like, you could tell that it wasn't the same version, but I mean, it wasn't a stark difference, Roots, and it really kind of revived my faith in standalone. Seeing that now there's a current gen headset that's about to hit the market that's going to be able to get pretty close to PCVR quality. So all these people that keep talking about standalone like it's the weakest link. We've been saying it won't be like that forever. Well, apparently it's not going to be like that for very long at all.
What's the difference in the hardware that's on this compared to the Quest 2? Because, games like Red Matter 2 or Shadowgate or other games on the Quest 2 that the devs have know what they're doing, have made those games look phenomenal on standalone hardware, but not everybody does. I'd be curious to see what the Hubris developers could do with the Quest 2 hardware as well, if it would be, you know what I mean? Because we don't have any concept of that game, how it would be on the Quest 2. That it could be amazing on that one as well. But do we know, is it like a different chip, or is it the same chip on XR2 in there?
I believe it is a modified XR2, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah, it's an XR2 with double the RAM of Quest 2. It also is being cooled way better than the chip in Quest 2. So, yeah.
That gives you hope for Quest 3, right? Right around the corner.
Quest 3 would be a whole different ball game for terms of that.
Let me ask you about that, Brad, because people keep asking me, should they drop the $1,100 on this? And it's really, it's a good product. The standalone hardware is good. The mixed reality stuff was good. The tracking, the inside-out tracking, was flawless. And not only that, but the one thing that I didn't get to try was the PCVR glasses mode. So if you don't want that battery that you see on the back of my head there, that detaches, and this thing becomes a pair of glasses that you can plug a DisplayPort cable into and just play PCVR with your VR glasses. And I think that's a cool feature, although I don't know how practical it is if they're not going to give you some kind of strap to put around the back and hold the thing on. But the thing was lightweight and comfortable. It worked very well. It's a little pricey at $1,100. But, it's better in every way that I could tell than the Quest Pro, and it's $400 less than the Quest Pro. So, Brad, people are asking me, should they pre-order this thing? And, at first glance, the short answer is if you're the type of person that can spend $1,000 on a headset, then yeah, it probably is. But we're so close to Quest 3, and as you just said, that's going to be a different ball game. Would you suggest, without having tried it, obviously, would you suggest that someone spend this kind of price point on these kind of features at this time?
I feel like anyone who buys this headset so it comes out in March officially, like the first week of March or something.
Right.
You have about 6 months to use this headset when it's the best, if it is the best. And then a headset that's going to come out half the price of this with a better chip, better displays, pretty much the same mixed reality focus, pancake lenses, and the option for that headset, the Quest 3 will have the option if you want to spend $300 more to get the Quest Touch Pro controllers. It's kind of hard. I think it's hard. Like anyone who doesn't look into what's coming out later or like watches leaks, they're probably going to regret it. I think over the, I mean, I guess that's midterm, not even long term, just midterm. I think it's hard. It's really hard. Do I think this headset's a good competitor right now? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a good competitor for 6 months. That's it.
I think anybody that still has their Quest Pro in the return window should return it now and buy one of these and pocket that $400. Although you did point out something that had slipped my mind. I said it was better than Quest Pro in every way. Not every way. The controllers on the Quest Pro are excellent, and these were pretty standard controllers with the thing. Although the tracking again worked very well.
It's also attached to HTC, and HTC, at least from my experience, customer service sucks. So, good luck if something happens, and you've got to deal with their customer service. Whereas Oculus or Meta, and with all their faults, I've never had an issue when I've had an issue with my headset on anything. So I take that's a big thing for me, because I've had so many companies dick me around when I've had a problem that I just swore a long time ago. If I know that a company, it's like if you know somebody that is a thief, when you just invite them over to your house. No, you're like, I'm not inviting that guy. He steals everywhere he goes. I just kind of feel like HTC, at least in my mind, has a not reputable way of dealing with customer service, at least from what I've read when I was researching whether I should get the CV1 versus the Vive. So
yeah, that certainly was the case back in the day by many reports. I'm not so sure if it's still that way now, because it's been so long since HTC has had a consumer facing product. They really kind of fell off the map, and honestly, I'm quite surprised that not only are they jumping back in the fray now, but they're actually doing it with a quality product. I think it was Looper, the Underground Game Cat, with the €5 donation, says, just give me lifetime Viveport Infinity with it and I'm sold. I don't think they'll give you lifetime Infinity with it. You'll probably get a year though. I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know. But I do know that is another big plus for this device, is it does support Viveport Infinity and is going to have its own library of titles in its own kind of infinity space, which is really cool.
That's cool.
I do think if you do pre-order it on Amazon. It's on there already, so you don't have to worry about the difficult return process.
Oh, that's true.
But one final thing, because the one thing that I do like I call everything a gimmick. It's whatever. I do like the gimmick they're doing here with the like pull off the battery, do PSVR sort of thing there. However, it's really the chip inside. Like when the new chip comes out, it's gonna have way better. It'll even be able to do better PSVR, like wireless or wired PSVR, because it'll be able to do much higher decoding and stuff from your PC, and which will make the visuals better. So again, it's just like it's really Meta always with their extreme subsidies always makes the competition difficult. But I think with what HTC has and them having to make a profit on hardware, I do agree with you guys that this is like the best headset they've made with what little resources they have to work with here.
Yeah, I was very impressed, and this was the surprise of the show to me. Like, I couldn't believe just how good this was. So kudos to them. Hopefully they can regain some of the some of the stature that they previously had in the consumer VR industry with this. And competition's good for everyone. So even if it's the best headset for 6 months or 9 months, I mean that's a long time in our space, right? That's almost half a generation with standalone. So
Here's a good final question. I think would you want something like this or the PIMAX Crystal more for yourselves?
Oh, this hands down. Like this hands down. You know, as impressive as the crystal was, um, I think we're getting to the point now where resolution bumps aren't that important anymore. Like it was, the crystal was the again the most clarity I've ever seen in a consumer VR headset, but it wasn't like a night and day increase over my G2. And in fact, in my video there, when I first put the thing on, um, I describe it as on par with my G2, and they stepped in very quickly to say, "Hey, dude, this is like twice the resolution of your G2." I'm like, well, sorry, I'm playing pistol whip. I couldn't really tell. Um,
It had more
but
jank than your HTC. I mean, than your
well,
G2, right?
I wouldn't say that. We had a good 3 months of blue screens before my G2 started working. Although, as it stands today, yeah, that's true. But would you agree? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say for FOV, I want more FOV, but I don't want it the way Pimax does it. I want it like a legit way that's not distortion and weird and huge and some of the ways that Brad's described what Valve's plans or the ways they can do it, I guess, is a better way to say it. I'd rather have it that way and in the way that's going to be comfortable for my eyes. And I just don't think, I feel like even the way they're doing the FOV is kind of gimmicky. And I think the industry is going to figure out a better way to do it. And they're going to have all these weird headsets that are too big. And I don't know. I've never been a big on Pimax, so.
Yeah, and in fairness, I didn't get to try this product in a PCVR capacity, although I did talk to others that did, and they were equally impressed with it. So I have faith that it'll be good in that department too. But to answer your question, Brad, like more resolution's cool, but it's not at the top of my list right now.
Yeah, I think for gaming, like even I gave this thing such a hard time because it's marketed as a productivity device, like a monitor replacement. Resolution wise, it's not, but for gaming, it's super good still. Like this kind of level, G2, Quest Pro, this headset for gaming, I think you're already in a good spot. So,
and as impressive as the pass through was with it, they had the depth sensor disabled, so it was kind of flat. But they told us that when they ship that you can turn the depth sensor on and get some nice, accurate 3D depth. Anyway, yeah, this was the star of the show for me, save one other headset that I had a chance to try, and that's right, folks. It's time to talk some more about PlayStation VR 2 because this was the highlight of my showcase. Being a VR gaming enthusiast, I'm excited for the return of high-end VR gaming. And that was what this demo that you're looking at here was. It was Horizon Call of the Mountain. I was pretty blown away with the device and the game too. It was really unfortunate though that they had the technical issues that they had, because I don't know how your demo was, Brad. I know you had some of the jank that I had, but it got really bad for me. Like the last 10 to 12 minutes of my demo, like was almost unplayable because the tracking interference was so bad.
Yeah, I there was like one cliff you had to climb up near the end, and I kept dying because my controller just spazzed out and it kept dropping me to the ravine. So I was having a ton of controller issues, unfortunately, and apparently another issue I had that might have been even worse. I didn't realize till after the show when people were talking about it, but I kind of went into the menus and like turned on smooth turning, and apparently that might have made my experiences even worse because the game wasn't optimized for that, and I guess I got it banned for everyone else at the show. So I'm sorry, everyone that had to do this the whole time. I had no idea.
So it was you all along, huh?
Apparently, it was me. Apparently, the guy told Jose VR Tech that I was trying it with smooth turning, and there's the monitors that show other people what the person's doing. And I guess the flat view had like a lot of terrible visuals that someone was recording. I didn't know with their phone, and it made the game and the PSVR 2 look a little worse than it actually is. So yeah, they apparently they banned that feature for the rest of the show. So I'm sorry I ruined it again. I know.
So, so not only did they not let me set the settings the way that I wanted to, but as you're seeing here, recording the social screen, they only let Todd, as you can see there, record like 15 to 20 seconds at a time. Like he had to keep stopping and restarting. Are you responsible for that as well, Brad?
Recording the screen?
The social screen, yeah.
Oh, I didn't record that at all, so I didn't even attempt. I just recorded myself, so I don't know. Yeah, not
So
sure.
we had
Sorry.
we had two cameras. There was a camera on me the whole time, and then we had Todd over here with this tripod on the screen. But they kept making him stop it and restart it, stop it and restart it, for whatever reason.
That's really interesting. I don't know. There was a guy before me, and he was recording the whole time. They weren't even bugging that guy, so it's possible that I'm also the reason for that too.
There you go. Well, Teeks419 in the chat says, I forgive you, Brad, and I do as well. Because we just have another month to wait, and then we're going to have our very own here with no crazy Wi-Fi interference breaking the controllers. And for what it's worth, Brad, I didn't really buy it when they told me it was interference. I thought it was poor lighting or poor battery. But as I demoed some other things, some other headsets, it was pretty notorious throughout the entire convention center that this was happening with the tracking IMU data. So, but by the end of the week, I was convinced that their explanation actually was true.
I think it was true. I had the same experience with basically every single, even these controllers, they all use 2.4 gigahertz connection directly to either the headset or the console, and every single Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, every device in that room is all using the same sort of spectrums. And the one thing that actually didn't have terrible dropouts was the Nofio thing with the Xtal, because they're on 6 gigahertz, so they had the least amount of interference on that band. So I do believe that was the reason for sure.
Get your shit together, Sony. 6 gigahertz, that's where it's at. Anyway, Ruuts, I'm happy to report that our hopes and dreams were not misplaced. It's a step up. It's a step up for consumer VR, and the quality of the software, as you can see here, a pretty big step up from what we've been getting over the last 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and not only that, but for, because we take for granted PCVR, like this is even better than PCVR level VR gaming coming to people in their consoles in the living room. This is a big deal, right? It's going to be huge, and AAA games or experiences is what I want. I'm done with the games, the concepts. I like this is the Turok VR of a VR, even though it's from the same developers. Like, I want the actual Turok, you know what I mean? Like, or at least that depth of gameplay. And so yeah, I'm excited. That's the biggest thing I'm excited about for PlayStation VR 2, is just the depth of the games, So.
What did you think about the haptics implementation in this thing, Brad? Because it seemed like they were trying really hard with it. Like everything that you touch, and don't get me wrong, I was really impressed, especially with the headset haptics. It really kind of added a layer of depth to the game that was a bit unexpected. But the controller haptics, like you bump the boat, they go off. You touch a wall, you pick up an apple, everything. It seemed like had a haptic feedback to it, which kind of I felt like after like 5 or 10 minutes, you just kind of zone it out because everything you touch buzzes your controllers.
I totally agree with you about the zoning it out thing. I had the same exact experience where it's like, especially in the boat, like I felt like they were just overdoing it almost with the haptics and the controllers. They're nice to have, 100%. That's the way I feel. Is like they're super nice to have. I'm glad they're there, but the moments when the headset haptics go off, I felt more of like a whoa moment whenever that stuff happened. And no, yeah, I mean they're good. I think really the entire device, and this is why I kind of feel like my if I were to like sum up my feeling about the hardware, because I know most people are buying it for the software, which makes a lot of sense, but the hardware itself, it's so much better than when the PSVR 1 released. I remember really hating using that headset to play any PSVR 1 games. This headset is not even near that. Like, it's actually a good headset. So that alone is like, I feel like a praise, at least from my stingy self. So, yeah.
Yeah, you had the misfortune of playing other VR before PSVR. Like I started on PSVR, so like I was disappointed when I went over to Oculus Rift because of well, for a few reasons, but mainly the displays were so dim, and technically they're both OLEDs, but the Samsung AMOLED in the PSVR 1, even though it's technically a lower resolution, I think I preferred it, and that's not even to mention the quality of the games. But you know, it was interesting, man, because everything feels so next gen in this. Like the displays are excellent, amazing. You can't really see any screen door effect unless you really try, and the color depth is just stunning. Um, but you know, as next gen as everything was, I felt unmistakably like I was still in a PlayStation game. Like you could tell that this is a Sony game, right? Or at least that's how it felt to me.
Yeah, I felt there was some weird. Again, I couldn't, because after I found out about the issues with the smooth turning, apparently making things run worse or whatever, I felt throughout the whole demo there was like some noticeable artifacting from ray projection, like in between frames. There's always seemed like to be some sort of software blur. Some people think it might be low, like a persistence issue. I don't feel it's that at all. I really feel it's like software because I didn't have that issue when I'm in the menus looking around fast. The text didn't blur or anything. So it does feel like it's running on, like they're maybe pushing the PS5 for this demo a bit harder than I think they should be in some ways. But yeah, it definitely feels like you're on a console rather than PC if you play a lot of PC VR. But that being said, if you only played maybe Quest 2 or like nothing at all, I still think people are gonna be wowed by it.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear you say that, because I didn't notice any reprojection in it, and I was kind of looking for it. But with that said, it isn't something that I'm particularly sensitive to. Like I can count on one hand the cases of reprojection that I noticed in PSVR 1 games. So like, you know, it isn't maybe that shocking that something like that would get by me. Visually, I didn't have noticed many issues with it at all. There was kind of a softness in distant scenes. I felt like I was expecting like maybe it would be a little bit more contrasty, like a G2. But I felt like that was all software. Like I didn't feel like it was any kind of black mark on the headset, and I noticed some distortions in like the waterfall. Like if you look at that, there was some weird like I don't know, I don't even know what it was. It just had a weird distortion just kind of over all of the moving parts of the water. It didn't look bad, but it was definitely noticeable. One thing I wanted to ask you about specifically, because people keep bringing up Mira. People keep asking me about it, and it was specifically something I went in looking for, and I did notice it on a couple of occasions. Um, but I felt like the resolution of the display is so high that really you have to be looking for it to notice it. Um, Speak on that a little bit, Brad. Did you notice any mirror, and if so, how often?
Yeah, it's super hard to see Mura unless you're like really dark scenes, especially. And there weren't too many dark scenes in this
That's
demo.
true.
Like,
That's a good
there
point.
was a lot of sunlight. Like you can see right here, it looks so exposed right now, except when you look in the cabin. So I was trying to look for it, but I think I really think Mura is one of those things. So this uses to mention, by the way, just so people know, you said the PSVR one was brighter than the Rift, and that reason why it's was brighter is because they were using RGB stripe. So not only does
Yep.
RGB stripe OLED make the like the screen door effect less noticeable, but also you have a lot bigger pixels usually and like less pixel gaps, so it makes the displays brighter. So it kind of a lot of that stuff kind of comes in effect here, where it's like there probably is gonna be some Mura. There's probably gonna be a display lottery when it comes to Mura on these displays. But again, I think all the issues you have with if you see any of that ever goes away when you just see the colors and like just the fast response time, just the high resolution. Like it's worth it. It's worth it. I didn't see it much in my demo, but again, it's just a tailored demo to make everyone come out impressed. You'll have to probably, yeah. I was also very distracted from the reprojection thing, which was definitely happening, and again, it probably was from the smooth turning, which they said was not optimized for that. So
Right.
yeah, I
Well,
didn't see too much of it.
that would explain it. Yeah, because
What
I do the quick turns.
what about I don't know if you guys what you exactly if there was anything that would have been used this, but I would have been like to know what adaptive triggers and would feel like if there's anything that felt different as far as that goes, and then also, like when we played Astrobot, the demo, right, for PlayStation 5, you felt everything. You felt zippers. You felt like every rumble. Everything felt different. You could literally, when you were like, there was things that were like, oh my god, it's like you feel whatever's happening in this gadget inside the controller, and that's what we were supposed to feel and everything that was going on. But what you guys are describing is more like everything is just kind of buzzing, or am I misunderstanding that?
You're absolutely right, Roots. I feel like they didn't use the tech to its fullest extent, and that goes in both cases. And again, it's not a condemnation on the hardware. We know what the controller is capable of because of what they did with the DualSense. But yeah, they used it more of like a buzz. There weren't unique tactile sensations in this game, depending on what you were touching. And Brad, I don't know about you, but I felt like the triggers were kind of underutilized. They have a perfect use case for it here with the archery. And while I did feel some resistance, I felt like maybe it was a little underdone here.
I agree. I barely noticed them during my demo. I felt like they could have been way more hard on me with this bowstring. So I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because it was one of the things I was expecting to be more prominent. And again, I don't want to sound negative because we keep kind of pointing out what the issues were, and we haven't really spoken about why it's so great. And it's again unequivocally the best on the market when it launches in a month.
And it's a
And by
demo, and it could be different in the actual game, right? So
that's true. That is true. Let me ask you this, Brad. Like, I know some people got a chance to play a different demo with like the big boss fight, and Steve wouldn't
what?
allow me to do that. Did you get to fight the big boss?
No, I only got to fight the thing that you're showing right here. I had
Right.
spent too much time kind of looking around, so I didn't have enough time for that. So, nope.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a couple of people that actually got to do a different demo, like a second demo, because they ran through the first one so quickly. They had some time left over, so they let them do another demo.
That makes
There
sense.
was
Yeah,
there
Wes
was
takes his
just so
time.
many interactive stuff on like everywhere in this demo. I kept getting distracted. Like I'm very ADHD when it comes to stuff like that in VR. So yeah, I
Yeah,
probably spent more time actually picking stuff up and shaking them than I did actually play the game. So
I felt like that was kind of one of the saviors of the game because it's a pretty straightforward um, archery game, with climbing, shooting. I felt like the exploration aspect of it really kind of added another dimension to it, because there are so many things laying around that you can interact with, and there are also hidden areas and collectibles everywhere. Um, so that was kind of one of the highlights of the game for me, is just how full the world was.
I really hope they have an option to turn off the rail during these fights, because that was really disappointing for me. The like, you can only walk in a circle thing. That was like, that probably took me out of the game more than anything else. And like, I was really quite bummed about that, honestly.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Like, the rail itself, I mean, obviously, everyone would prefer to have full locomotion and freedom if they could. The rail itself isn't really what bothered me. It's just how you interact with it. Like, having to grab and pull yourself around it really was annoying to me. Um, but you had different control settings on. Could you strafe with your thumbstick during that scene, or did you have to grab and pull like the rest of us?
No, the entire so that was the thing, is like I was free locomotion everywhere with the joystick, any direction, any rotation, smooth turning and everything. I was able to, and when I entered the circle, I'm able to just do left and right my joystick. But because I
Oh,
got so used to just being able to move myself everywhere, it locks you in the circle, so you kind of feel like you're trapped almost, even though you can move these ways. So, yeah, if you do the joystick locomotion, you will be able to just, you won't have to do the crap you guys had to do. But even
that's a
then,
big
like, I
relief.
feel so I hate that mechanic, honestly. Terrible.
Well, I
Yeah.
my thing is and of course I'm also been in VR for 5 almost 6 years. I'm over climbing, like that again is a gimmick in itself, and I use this as a joke. It's like, you get into the experience or game, and we look at our hands and we climb stuff and we pick stuff up, and like, hopefully, I mean, it sounds like there's more to it than that as far as, exploration gameplay or whatever. But I was hoping this was more of an actual game versus, um you know this is kind of the Astrobot of uh of the except for you're paying for it, right? It's not free. It's the tech demo that shows off the hardware, but so far it doesn't even sound, at least in this demo, it's not utilizing the hardware even close to what Astrobot did. Which is kind of, they're relying more on the wowing of being in there, and now I'm climbing up these vines, and I'm, like, I've climbed so many things in VR. I'm over it, like, give me a reason to be climbing the vines, which I'm sure they do, but you know what I mean. So
I don't want to undersell it. The archery part of it's fun, and again, the exploration really adds a lot to it, because you're finding collectibles. There are secret areas. Two that I know of in this demo, and one of them pretty hard to find. Um, but there are also like targets hidden throughout the level that you have to kind of look for. Some of them in weird spots and far off, and then you have to try to kind of hit them with your bow, and it's all very fun. And well, yeah, it's not like groundbreaking in terms of the formula that they used to put together this game. Even with it not being fully utilizing everything that the hardware can do, um, it was still, providing wow moment after wow moment for me. Like, I was really blown away with it. Um, yeah. Brad, your overall impressions on the quality of the software, and your expectations for the platform in the short term.
Um, I think they're. I mean, I think people. I would be nervous if this holiday season there's not one big title coming out. That's not what's in the launch title.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, there'll be at least one more, probably two.
I mean, we're people who have seen every single VR game ported over like 10 times now, and it's happening for this system as well, which makes sense because they're targeting the overall audience of the PS5, people that didn't get into Quest 2. Um, the launch lineup is fine, but for me, I think I'll mostly just be hopping into this game and then waiting for the next like. I'm not interested in racing. That's me. But yeah, I think it'll be this game for me for a while. I'm pretty like otherwise the rail thing I was just complaining about. I'm still pretty happy with what they showed in the demo. Like I know it's supposed like you know it's funny because when you go to these events, they train the guys to basically expect the person never touched VR before. So they say do all the simplest settings, make the demos for babies, basically make it as easy as possible. So I'm not too worried this game yet. I mean, they have smooth turning inside. It's just you got to activate it. So I think that alone, and all the cool interactions that the VR devs are adding to the game, and like putting your hand in the water and stuff, and having it see it move and stuff. I'm not worried about the software for this game, but I do think there needs to be a little bit more for me to get excited right away. But the hardware is good. I'm happy with the hardware. I think it's. I was very scared actually of getting excited for the hardware side of things, but I think it met my expectations, which is a good thing.
Yeah, especially with the types of expectations this particular hardware has had on it. Like that's I'm going to call that a ringing endorsement. And with regards to like the underutilization of the triggers and haptics on the controllers, you made a good point, Rich. This is an early demo. Like that could very well get better over time and may be better on launch day.
I hope so, because that was one of the things that we raved about for Astrobot, and it was a flat game. It was like literally, I felt like there was a motor in this. Like there was instances where I was like, how the hell are they making me feel like this is literally tension in a bow in a controller? It was crazy. So if they can make it feel a little bit, because this is the game that's supposed to wow people with the technology and stuff, and that's one of the things that worries me, or not worries me, but I guess there's no way to really expect much more than it is. And let me throw a shout out to Guido, who's going to work. $20 gift super chat, says have a great show later, everyone. But all these ports that I've played a million times over, I feel like there's going to be so many games that I feel like the hardware for a while is going to be underutilized. You're going to have this amazing hardware that's not being used for almost anything except for the displays, the clarity, all the good things about it. But the eye tracking is probably won't be used in most of the games, or some of them anyway. And if they are, they'll be gimmicky. And so like there's going to be this weird stage where you're going to have this amazing hardware and it's being utilized for very few games where it really actually matters. And when it does matter, it's going to matter. And so like, you have a game, if they ever brought even just Returnal or something like it, or Pavlov, I guarantee will utilize, hopefully, the adaptive triggers, Firewall, whatever it is. There's games that have to really utilize this hardware. Otherwise, what are we paying all the extra money? Well, I guess it's not even that expensive, really, realistically, compared to other headsets out there and what's in it. It's, I think, very reasonably priced, but...
Yeah, and it's going to vary. When you talk about ports and Gen 1 upgrades, some of them are just going to be straight ports, and then others, as we're about to talk about, are actually going to implement some of the next-gen features. So it's going to vary from game to game. And yeah, you're right. I mean, no hardware platform launches with, 10 first-party exclusive titles. Not even PlayStation 5 did that. So it is going to take a little while for that end of the library to kind of become a substantial thing. But I'm not worried about that at all, because this is Sony, this is PlayStation. We know what they're capable of and what they've done in the past. So I think we're going to get there very quickly. And I don't think I agree, Brad. I would be worried too if they didn't have another title or two to sell this thing at Christmas. But I'm not the least bit concerned about that. I'm sure that there's plenty more to come this year. Ruuts did touch on something though here that we didn't really talk much about, something that I found fairly impressive, and that was the eye tracking. This has been my first real experience with eye tracking in the headset, and it was pretty easy to see why Tobii is regarded as kind of the top in the space, because it was very responsive, really simplified the setup quite a lot, and allowed the menial tasks like working through menus and stuff that used to take a little bit of time, um, kind of to become an afterthought. Like you would expect with new tech like this that there would be like this buffer period where it would take you a minute to get used to using it. But this stuff is so easy to set up and is so responsive and works so well. It was just intuitive, and I basically was thumbing through the menus very quickly, immediately, because this stuff works so well. What did you think about the eye tracking, Brad?
I've tried many Tobii headsets, and it's another Tobii headset. It's good, but
Yeah.
it works. It's yeah, I'm happy. It's actually kind of amazing because this is the first Tobii headset that's like mass consumer. So I think it's a really good thing, really, for all those expensive ones that exist out there too. It's just standardizing something that has been around. Like I think the first Tobii integrated headsets came out in 2018 with the HTC Vive Pro I, and we're 5 years later, and we're finally getting a mass market version of that. So it feels good.
And people, I mean, you're absolutely right, about, this is the first time that really we've seen it in a consumer headset, because we see this the stuff in other headsets, especially like the latest wave of standalones, but those are all, well over $1,000, where this is, $550. Um, were you able to catch or notice the dynamic foveated rendering? Because that was something that they were pretty vocal about being utilized in this game, and I can say that they are using it, because I was able to catch it a couple of times, but again, it was me doing weird stuff trying to catch it, and I was only able to see it twice. Were you able to see the foveated rendering at all?
I only tried to look for it once, and during the time I could not get it. I could not catch it the one time.
It wasn't easy.
But I wasn't spending my whole demo trying to look for it. The one thing I think that is kind of funny to think about is like if you're like a VR content creator, you're gonna record these games. Are you even going to be using that feature? Because you don't want your recordings to have like a weird like circle rendering outside your vision for the 16:9 videos. So that'll be like kind of something I've been thinking about more recently, but I couldn't notice it. But I was only looking one time in like one area, so yeah.
So this is interesting that you bring that up, because this is a big difference between console and PC. So typically, when you're capturing footage on PC, you're mirroring your display and you're capturing that. So whatever you see in your headset is what you're seeing on your video. But with PlayStation, it's different, because you're capturing the social screen, and they kind of work that stuff out. Like you can see it here. Like, do you notice any kind of blurring on the edges or any kind of weird distortion? I don't see it. So it's a little bit different here. Now, it might be different if you capture your footage internally on the console versus externally with the capture card, because that was the case. With the original PSVR. Like if you use a capture card and capture the social screen, there's no distortion. But if you capture the video internally, not only is it running at a lower resolution, 720p, but there is fisheye distortion that you have to remove in post. So it's an interesting point, but if you're doing it the right way, then it's a non-issue.
Yeah, that'd be cool if they worked it, if they were already pre-planned for that, because I'm sure they want people to spam video. You're already seeing it. The console's not out. People are already getting getting excited and posting PSVR 2 videos right now. So
well,
yeah.
They're adding Discord, right, to PS5. I thought I read that. So,
yeah, they are.
Wow.
Next update. Next update. What I heard.
Yeah, it's big, but yeah, only for PS Plus. But I mean, I support that. I mean, they got to sell the subscription somehow, and you're playing multiplayer anyway, right? You need PS Plus to do multiplayer. So
Forgot about that.
All right, so I think we've kicked the tires on this one pretty thoroughly. I'm going to throw it out there to chat really quickly before we move on. and ask if you guys have any questions about PSVR 2 or anything else at CES. Now's your time to ask them. And while you're doing that, I wanted to get your thoughts, Brad, on the news last week that not only is Apple once again delaying their high-end headset, which is still expected to drop this year, but they're already announcing or at least leaking a more consumer-facing headset. Does that surprise you at all?
Yeah, so for understand the actual so the big news that happened was they're delaying the AR, optical AR stuff, which is like you look up Apple AR and you always see these stupid concept renders of like an amazing pair of glasses that can show everything and it's perfect. Oh my god, Apple's got magic technology. They're going to release this next year. Yeah, that project has been delayed indefinitely because they basically decided it's a dead end for current technology. They might have a small team working on it, but they want to focus on AR through VR, mixed reality, which I'm so glad they're doing that because that's gonna pour money into the stuff we like, even if it's not necessarily VR focused. It's still gonna pump a lot of innovations in like VR displays and lenses and stuff. But yeah, I know people are tired of Apple rumors because that headset's been delayed so many times. But what's currently going on is people expect that the first generation, which is like a $3,000 type headset, will come out this year. And Apple, because they canceled their optical AR, they want to start looking into cheaper, like a cheaper tier headset around the $1,500 range, which would compete better price-wise with the Quest Pro. And they're looking into making prototypes and getting things ready for that. And I will say, I do believe this rumor because I was already hearing from the supply chain a lot about this cheaper headset already. Apple has been requesting samples for the displays that would go into this cheaper headset, and they're still looking into stuff like micro OLED and stuff, but maybe lower specs than their high-end headset. And I think, again, I think it's the right choice. I'm so glad that they're diving into this MR stuff like full on with different tier categories. I think it's good. I think it's really good for all of us and good for Meta too, because that kind of proves that what they're doing is a market that they need to get into.
It's an exciting time as we see we're seeing our market segment in so many ways. Whether you're talking about the hardware manufacturers and the consumer bases that they each want to focus on, or whether you're talking about software companies, where we're seeing segmenting in those as well, where you have like the bigger companies now getting involved in publishing and acquiring other studios, where the smaller ones are still just trying to make interesting software. You're seeing the player base segment where we're having a lot of younger, more casual gamers playing on standalones, where the more serious gamers are moving to PC and now will be moving to PlayStation. And with all this segmenting, which conventional wisdom would tell you is a bad thing for a market that's barely big enough to support itself right now, we're also seeing a lot of competition coming in, which is going to only make things better for the consumer and accelerate growth. So exciting times for us in this space right now. We have a few questions in chat. Those, I don't know if this is a serious question, but we're going to treat it like it is. Is the PSVR 2 going to be wireless? Not at launch. Maybe later they'll do another version or add a dongle, but no, there's a wire on it. A single USB-C cable right now.
Now, you said you could feel it at first, but you immediately forgot about it pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about the cable at all. Like, when they first set me up in it, they kind of turned me a little bit, and I felt it rub my shoulder. But after I got in the game, I didn't even notice it in the least. Did the cable infringe upon your freedom at all, Brad?
I had the same experience as you. I totally forgot it was there very fast.
I get
I moved
confused when
around.
I hear people talking about getting tangled up in it, and I always say the same thing. You know, you're not when you put the headset on, you're not supposed to put your arms out and spin around like you did when you were a kid. Like you go one way, you go back the next. I've never gotten tangled up in my cord, but some people act like, you know, a minute in, they're like wrapped around their legs 4 times and they're tripping over it, and I don't get that. Like I guess, hey, if you want to spin around in your, you know, play space like that, go for it. But
Funky Sloth asks, is it smaller than PSVR 1? It's definitely lighter than PSVR 1. And surprisingly so, especially with regards to the controllers. I actually expected the controllers to be a little bit heavier than they were. But the headset, while noticeably lighter, I didn't feel like it was smaller at all. At least it didn't feel that way to me. How would you describe the size versus PSVR 1, Brad?
It felt like putting on PSVR 1 again, honestly.
Felt identical almost, right? The only real difference was the accordion face gasket. That was the only real difference in terms of how it felt.
did it keep out the light? That was another question people were asking.
All of it. Like I didn't get any light leak.
Oh, good.
No, it's great. You know, PSVR 1 already was the most comfortable headset on the market, in my opinion. This one is just as comfortable and has a better face gasket to block light leak. It was very ergonomic and comfortable, and the controllers were very comfortable in my hands as well.
It's like a pillow on your face, like Anthony would say. Waleed is now a game cat, specifically a white tiger. Says $2 2 Canadian loony. I don't know what the hell they're called. Amazing content, guys. Hype for PSVR 2. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Waleed, and thank you, Guido.
Guido.
Yeah, you shouted him out earlier, but I didn't get a chance to thank him. Thank you, Guido. You're awesome as always. At work, spending his money before he makes it. Crazy. Let's see here. Awesome Tatum, 30 days out at this point. I just want to get it on my head. You know who else wants to get on your head?
My mom!
Oh, yeah, she does. You got to watch out.
Maddie Fat Batcat says, where on the headset is the rumble? Front, back, sides, or all around? I think it's on the front and the back. Am I right about that, Brad?
I think it's only on the head
front.
pad.
Really?
I think. I don't remember it on the back at all.
Does it feel like it'll help with people getting motion sickness, even though you guys don't get motion sick? Or
I can't really.
It's gonna be for that.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that as someone who doesn't get sick. Like I would need to play. What's something that makes me sick? Like I would need to play the OG version of Here They Lie in it, with headset haptics turned on to know that.
Minecraft was so fast-paced, spinning with free locomotion that if somebody was going to get sick, I guarantee that would be one of them, which I didn't.
Good point.
To better answer this question, I have seen a leaked dev kit manual, and they show in the schematics where the vibrator is, and it was only shown in the head.
Yeah. I remember them saying that that it only had a single motor in the headset, but I felt like it reverberated throughout the thing pretty well. It felt to me like there was something going on in the back, but again, these are 6-week-old memories or 4-week-old memories of a drunken binge I was on in Vegas. So I certainly could be prone to making a mistake.
It's a good haptic. I swear.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's strong. Yeah. Techno glitch. Can I extend the USB-C cable? Assuming that they're not doing something proprietary here with the cable, I would assume that you would be able to buy like an amplified extension, because this has been the case with the other headsets that I've had in the past. Is if you make the cable too long, the signal can't pass through. But if you buy an amplified extension with its own power supply, it just repeats it, and there isn't really any latency. So I would assume that would work, but it's not a guaranteed thing, because I do know with certain like you can't plug your DualShock controller into everything and actually have it charge. Like you have to plug it into your console or your PC or something that has a data interface. So Sony does do some weird stuff sometimes, but I would expect a regular USB-C amplified extension to work here, and I've got one. I'll try to test that when it comes around. Does the rubber thing block out all the light? Absolutely. Any light leak, Brad?
Nope.
Have you heard anything on RE4 Remake for VR or Silent 2 Hill Remake VR? No, nothing on that. Oh crap, my chat just jumped on me.
Yeah, mine too.
It did for you too? That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see here. Okay, back here. Did you notice the new fan? There actually isn't a new fan in it. There's just a vent. They implemented vent holes into the top of the headset. Didn't notice it, but my lenses didn't fog, so I guess it works. Let's see here. PSVR 2 cross-platform possibilities. Not for a while. I think, actually one of the developers of the software that brought the original PSVR 1 to PC basically said if Sony doesn't support it, it's going to be a very difficult thing for people to back engineer because of this is a completely different approach to software here and hardware versus what the original PSVR 1 was, which basically just worked like a display. Did you catch that story last week, Brad?
Yeah, I think you should not be buying this headset expecting it to be PCVR capable in its first year as well. I think that's probably true.
Did you see the Alakazam super chat? $5. He wants to know, or they want to know, how long the controllers last. Keep up the good work. Love the show. Been enjoying the code I won for Walking Dead Chapter 2 on Quest Pro. Nice.
Thank you. Thanks for the donation. Congrats on your win. I don't know. I didn't run them dead. I think the battery life on them, I know I had stats on this at some point, but it'll be plenty long enough. Sony's always been kind of good about that. So, let's see here. Having went hands-on with PSVR 2, any chance the existing lens that go behind the rubber shroud would still work? I don't know what. Maybe I'm reading that wrong. Having went on hands-on with the PSVR 2, is there any chance existing lens that go behind the rubber shroud would still work?
They talk about
think
prescription.
Maybe that would make sense. No, the lenses in this are very different than the first one. That was kind of an interesting thing for me with this, Brad, is that they moved to Fresnel from the original glass aspheric lenses. Now I get they probably did it for weight, but I love the lenses on the original PSVR 1. Zero God rays and glare. But with that said, I felt like there was minimal God rays and glare in this demo, but as you pointed out before with the Mira, it is a very bright demo. There wasn't a lot of really contrasty scenes, but I was sufficiently impressed with the lack of glare in this headset. Did you notice anything to that effect, Brad?
It was fine. Again, I think it was for that matter, like even though it wasn't like many contrasting scenes, it was better for that regard than my Index. So yeah.
What about the Pulse earphones? Somebody was asking, how did the Pulse 3D headphones, were they comfortable over the headset?
They were, but they were quiet. Like I could hear the TV over the headphones, and I couldn't make out a lot of the dialogue. So I don't know if they were turned up all the way. I did complain about it. He acted like he turned them up, but still very quiet.
That's weird.
All right. Let's see here. All right. So What do the glasses? What do the lenses feel like? Glass or plastic? Will they scratch you? They feel like,
Plastic.
yeah, they're plastic for now. Lenses, pretty standard. All right, man. I think we've got most of it. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. Leave a comment down below. Brad, we're about to move into software mode. Do you want to hang out, or you want to go back and join your wife?
I'm out.
All right. Well, thank you
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure having you here and getting your opinion on these things. And I'm sure I'll talk to you again soon. Maybe even tomorrow. I don't even know.
Yep, maybe. Thanks everyone. Have a good rest of the show. Video games are cool. Bye.
Bye. All right, Roots. So obviously that went a little longer than we had originally planned on. What we've been going. How long have we been going now?
About 2 hours almost. Pretty close.
About 2 hours. All right. So I'm going to try to blow through the rest of this fairly quickly. We're gonna attack it like a news program. We're gonna hit the points and move on through these segments. But I do want to cover this stuff because, as many of you know, Sony a few days ago published their launch window lineup for PSVR 2, and there were a few present surprises in there. Present surprises. There were a few pleasant surprises in there, some of which had me actually pretty excited, and I thought we would touch on those now. So basically, the only exciting news coming out of the Sony press conference this year was the announcement of almost exactly to a year after the launch of Gran Turismo 7, the long awaited VR version is coming to PlayStation VR 2. Of course, with the lack of detail during Jim Ryan's presentation, a lot of questions coming out of there about whether or not this would be the full game or a very limited mode like we saw with the last Gran Turismo title on PSVR 1. Well, I'm happy to report last week we got more info on just that very thing, and it is indeed the entirety of Gran Turismo 7. They're utilizing the eye tracking and foveated rendering to provide a high fidelity next gen racing experience for VR. Ruuts, this is big. It's big for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, it's Gran Turismo. This is the racing game of racing games. It's one of the most realistic racing sims on the market. And as Jim Ryan pointed out, this series itself is the highest selling first party series on Sony's platform. No other franchise has sold as many copies on PlayStation as Gran Turismo has. So this is a big deal, during a time where we were wondering if Sony was going to even give us a second first party title. While it maybe wasn't the biggest surprise in the world, I do feel like this is a big deal for the platform.
Yeah, and like we were saying between the scene or during the trailer, we're both not big racing game fanatics, but we can see that how big this is for people that love this game, that love racing in general. Especially the people that have multiple monitors and they're into racing. Being in the game is the actual next best step, especially when the fidelity is going to be on par with what you would hope it would be. And everybody's got their setups, their wheels, all these things. And now you're going to be able to go in there and race the game the way it is. And it's actually going to look good, not like the Quest version of that other racing game right now. That's supposed to, because this is a realistic car game, man. When you look over, you need to see these cars as they are. And so I think it's going to be big, at least for racers. And, I don't know if I'll be playing it, but if we have access to it, check it out. So,
well, what I did is what I typically do on the rare occasion that I have the opportunity of playing a physical copy of a VR game. I contacted Gamefly,
there you
and
go.
I just got this in today or yesterday, and yeah. Better be in here, Gamefly.
Well, let me ask. So it's going to be that same copy is going to work, right? Upgrade. The problem is though, Wes. I mean, you're renting it, right? So this is March 4th. You got to wait a whole 2 months for this sucker, 2.5. Right?
Well, from what I understand, this game, it's not something you're just going to pick up and go with. There are different
practice.
There are different types of cars. There are many different licenses that you have to earn to unlock portions of the game. So there are dozens of hours of gameplay in just getting this game to the state where you can really experience everything in it. This is a big budget AAA game. There is tons of game here. The thing that really excites me the most, again, I'm not a racing enthusiast. The thing that really excites me the most about it is it supports my wheel and pedals, and like it supports all the features on my wheel and pedals over there. So I'm finally going to have a reason to dust that thing off, and it's not going to involve hooking it up to my PC and making sure the driver works right and calibrating it to the game. It's just going to plug and play work.
It's just going to work,
and it's just going to work. And I'm excited, man. Again, I'm not a racing enthusiast, but I am a VR enthusiast. And this is Sony's first big budget, first party hybrid game. And I look forward to checking it out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. And Tech says that he didn't think you can play 3-screen GT7 And somebody confirmed you cannot. Okay, two. I don't know. I don't play these games either. My point is anybody that wants to play it in a better way, they want to be in the game more, because let's be honest, not every game warrants being in it. If it sucks, it sucks. But this is an amazing racing game that I think being in the game is going to make a big difference, especially with foveated rendering, eye tracking, being able to use your wheel, all that stuff. Super cool.
Matty Fat Batcat says you need to put a good 4 hours in before you really get into the game. So there you go.
There you go.
Somebody else asked. Somebody was asking if you can play it offline. I'm pretty sure you can play single player offline in VR. Now, if you want to play multiplayer offline, like local multiplayer, you can do so on a split screen, but not in VR. That's only in flat mode.
What do you think about the announcement that something about all the flat games being able to be played in VR and all that stuff? I don't hear many people talking about that yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, that specific leak came from a developer summit. And I'm not sure that it's ever going to be like a marketing campaign, like they're going to come out and say, we're pushing hybrid games. I think that was more of an internal speak, dev speak. And we've seen, I think, two so far as far as like the big budget ones, this one and Resident Evil Village. But I think over time, we'll see more and more of them.
Cool.
Anyway, that was kind of the first big announcement of the big piece of news from the launch announcement, but it would not be the last.
I'm just coming back from some kind of a lag there. So yeah.
Yeah. Song of the Smoke Rekindled is the ultimate VR survival action adventure, a physical, immersive game where you craft, hunt, and survive in a fantastic, dangerous world. Fully remastered with supercharged graphics, gameplay that takes advantage of the PSVR Sense controllers and haptics, and an all-new free jump and climber mode that's completely unique to PSVR 2. Featuring a 15-plus hour single-player campaign, you'll challenge a savage world filled with strange beasts who are both prey and predator. Craft melee and ranged weapons, make clothes, build fires, brew potions as you traverse the landscape in your quest for survival. Free upgrade from the original PSVR version. Ruuts, these developers claiming that in addition to all of these next-gen features that they've added into the game, that the visual upgrade on the game makes it even better looking than even the highest spec PC version of it. Legit next-gen upgrade for this game. 100% free. And Ruuts, now we can jump. No more of this teleport bullshit. Now we can jump.
Yeah, hopefully they'll bring the jump to the other platforms, at least it's PC, like somebody said. But yeah, for sure. I excited that it's going to be, like I was saying during the trailer, it's going to be super colorful, which is going to be cool. Hopefully they'll use the trigger adaptive triggers, or the rumble a little bit more than what the demo for Horizon was. But what I'm impressed is this is day one. If you own this game now, you're going to get to play this on launch, and I think it's important. People getting the headset that maybe own this game but don't have a bunch of money to buy a bunch of games, you can go into this on day one. So
Yeah, yeah, and it's a big surprise here, honestly, because I mean the devs famously came out a few months back and talked about how difficult VR development was and how challenging it was, and really made it sound like they were done with VR for a while. So to get such a fully featured upgrade for this game available on launch day for free is a great surprise. And you know, this already was my favorite survival game. It's better than The Forest to me. It's better than Green Hell to me. And yeah, man, talk about an uncommon VR game with a 15-hour campaign, tons of depth in the gameplay. I mean, you could get through it in 15 hours, but you could play it for 30 if you want. You know what I mean? It just depends on how you go about it. I'm actually very excited to get my hands on this and play what is reportedly going to be the definitive version of Song in the Smoke. I can't wait.
are you going to finish it?
I don't know, it's a lot of game, and there's a lot of games coming out. I made it, I don't know, I'd say about 2/3 of the way through the first one before I moved on to the next game. I'd like to. I didn't quit playing it because I wasn't having a good time. You know how it is. I just had to move on to the next game.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll, well, I guess it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if it'll port your progress over, but it doesn't matter. I would want to start over anyway with all this new stuff they've got going on here.
Yeah.
I want to
check
take
it out.
it all in. Yeah.
You might go through it a little bit quicker. Maybe not take 30, 40 hours, 15, 20.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that you have to learn how to do, you know, because that's one of the things about this game is it doesn't hold your hand. You have to trial and error your way to learn and get a grip on how to survive in this game. And, you know, having that prior experience to fall back on, a lot of that stuff's just going to come natural now.
True. Plus, you've seen some of the story that you were kind of intrigued with. You'd probably blow through that a little bit quicker because you've already seen it, right? So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And then there were other things that I probably wish I would have spent more time on. So, yeah, it's probably going to take me forever, like it always does.
Yep.
All right. So, again, an unexpected announcement, but this wasn't exactly revealed during this launch window announcement. This actually was revealed in a magazine article a few weeks ago. So no big surprise here, but we did receive some news on some other Gen 1 upgrades that are going to be available for launch that, to be quite frank, I wasn't expecting. And it makes me feel a lot better, not only about the launch lineup, but the prospects for getting our old PSVR 1 games onto PSVR 2. Yeah, man, there was a few cool ones, and this next one especially completely unexpected.
PlayStation.
Become a space beetle on a rhythm action hell ride in Thumper. The gameplay is fiendishly simple. Tight controls, classic action, breakneck speed. Combined with psychedelic visuals, a throbbing soundtrack, and adrenalizing boss battles, it's pure rhythm violence. On PSVR 2, the 4K visuals, 3D audio, and PSVR Sense controllers' haptic feedback deepen the immersion and monumental dread. Get ready to feel every satisfying thump and punishing crash. Thumper will leave you bruised, battered, and hungry for more. So here we have Ruuts, a PSVR 1 launch title, which is now a PSVR 2 launch title. And when you think about the things that they pointed out here with the visuals, the audio, the haptics, I mean, there are very few games that are more well suited for these kinds of upgrades than a game like Thumper.
Yeah, it's one of those games, even if you haven't played it for a few years, going back into it would be fun. Although, all you are is history says can't stand Thumper. It's not for everybody, but this is the thing.
Love it.
Is this a free upgrade as well?
I don't know. There no news on that front. They didn't mention anything about the upgrade path.
Okay, because I think well, for one, I think this trailer is way too big for this thing. It should never got shrunk down. But yeah, I think it probably will be free. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I think it's cool that it's coming. I think it's going to be amazing the way it looks. I enjoyed myself, and I think it's cool.
I really like Thumper a lot. Like, when we talk about the best rhythm games, we always forget about Thumper because it was before Beat Saber. This is what rhythm games used to be in VR before Beat Saber came out and fucked everything up. But it's absolutely one of the very best. It's a simple concept, as the article says here, but it is not a simple game. After you get, into like the third level of it, like the combinations of different things they throw at you, it can be confusing, and they come so quickly. It's a game of, lather, rinse, and repeat. It's kind of an old school approach to gaming, which we appreciate here.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Definitely. Hopefully, it'll be a free upgrade. I can't imagine it not being, but I mean, who knows?
Well, at least, I'm of the mindset that I'll pay for next gen upgrades, but I don't want to pay full price for it. Like
True.
I shouldn't have to buy the game again. Charge me $5, charge me $10. Fine.
Looper the Underground Game Cat says Dev on Twitter said the upgrade will be paid. Details to follow. But doesn't sound like you're gonna have to rebuy it. Maybe $5-10, maybe, who knows. But yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's worth that to me.
Well, it took money. Who knows how much money Sony's given them to bring it over, if any at all. So hopefully they'll use the haptics, and it'll be in a way that it'll be super unique and make it worth going through all. Again, I never played through the whole thing, but I know the sense of speed in this game and just the visuals were worth it. The trippy music, if you like that type of music, I know somebody in the chat was saying they don't like the music. It's not their type of thing, so I get that. I've been in games where people love the music that I couldn't stand, and at that point, how do you enjoy something if you don't like it? A big aspect of it, but overall, I enjoyed the game, and it'll be cool to check out in VR again.
Yeah, the haptics should be cool because you're grinding rails, you're rubbing walls, stuff like that should all have a very different tactile feel now. And you're right, a game like this with the crazy psychedelic visuals and unique soundtrack, well suited for a next gen headset like this. Although it wasn't the only game that fits that description. In October 2016, Rez Infinite debuted as a PSVR launch title, and we're excited to be back just in time for the launch of PSVR 2. Prepare yourself once again for the ultimate version of Rez, a thrilling journey of sights, sounds, and shooting action, except this time in PSVR 2 with eye tracking. You can track and aim at your enemies, and haptic feedback from the controllers and headset feedback. Experience 360 degrees of mind-blowing synesthesia as you blast your way through waves of enemies and massive transforming bosses, with your every move triggering colors and sounds that sync and blend to the beat of the unforgettable soundtrack. Rez Infinite is also playable in standard TV mode on PS5. Owners of the original PS4 PSVR game will be able to upgrade to PS5 PSVR 2 for $10 US. So Roots, I mean, how many times have we talked about Rez? This is a classic VR game. It's one of my personal favorites. One of the things on this this announcement last week that I got the most excited for, because we've talked about when we've talked in the past about the possibilities of eye tracking in VR games, we have specifically cited Rez and what they could do with it in Rez. And now here they are doing exactly what we've talked about on multiple occasions, and is all going to be ready for launch day.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's just gonna be crazy to utilize, to actually have your eyes doing what you're used to using your controller for, right? I'm assuming you're still hitting the trigger, but your eyes are moving around and to the sights, and I think it's super cool.
Yeah, man. Like shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, when you have something like this that makes it kind of second nature to aim without thinking about it. In a game like this game is so much about getting you in a zone, kind of getting you to lose your grip on reality and have you act without thinking. This new hardware is only going to remove barriers to kind of getting in that flow state.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be super cool, and I think this isn't. There's a lot of games that are going to be using stuff like this, and that's what kind of interests me. Besides foveated rendering, what are these devs? How are they going to use eye tracking to make their game different, right? Like, or how can they? I guess because some games it's not going to make much difference, but this is one of them. This is one that like we said, we thought it was a specific game that we thought, okay, this is something that this eye tracking can be used for more than just the foveated rendering. And I think it'll be really cool to see how good it flows. And like you said, the flow state, and in a game that flow state matters, right? So.
Yeah. This game, we've joked about it before. Certain people talk about this game like it's a religious experience. Now, I wouldn't go that far, but I will say this is one of my very favorite Gen 1 games. One of the ones I always go back to when I want to kind of relive the early days of VR. And one of the I'm happy that I have something like this, Roots, to kind of play in between, right? So, because obviously we're all going to dive on Horizon on day one. We're all going to dive into Resident Evil Village on day one. But you need those palate cleansers, right? Something in between. And I was going to kind of use Switchback for that. But I think Switchback's getting delayed by a month. So I'm happy that I'm going to have a game like Rez where I can just stop for a minute, play a level or two, kind of veg out on it, and then clear my mind, and then bounce back into the bigger, meatier AAA stuff that we're getting on launch day.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you just touched on it with Switchback probably being delayed. It's kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it's not. We were like, okay, there was too many, not too many, but there were specific games we wanted to go into, and we didn't want to blow through it all. Now this is going to put Switchback by itself, and it's going to let us really focus on that when it comes out. And Tech was saying it should be compatible with the Yaw too. How crazy would that be to actually have Switchback with a turning? I mean, that would be cool, I think.
Based Innocent says Switchback is delayed. It's still listed as a launch title, but I think someone said if you pre-order it on the store or maybe wishlisted or something, it pops up with a March date now for when you're able to download it. March 16th, all you are is history says.
Wow. Well, that's about a month delay. Yeah. 3 weeks.
Well, here's the bright side, guys. We're going to have plenty of stuff to play on launch day. Between the, Horizon, Resident Evil, Gran Turismo, and all of these next-gen upgrades like Song in the Smoke and Rez. We're going to have plenty to play on launch day. There's not going to be time to play all of it. By the time we do finally start to make some headway on these games, a month later, Switchback's coming out. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution is coming out. So we're going to have another wave of bangers to play in March. And then when we start to get through those, Firewall's going to drop. You know what I mean? So it's looking good through the summer already. And again, we still don't know everything that's coming. They're going to keep adding to the library. We're going to keep getting next-gen upgrades, upgraded ports, and new games from third parties and first party as the year goes along. I got to say, Roots, this last announcement really kind of the cherry on top that really set the launch window lineup off for me. It was a little bit thin, leaning a little too heavily on Quest ports before, but I think these next gen upgrades and Gran Turismo really just kind of really sealed the deal on having enough to play when the thing comes out. We're quickly running out of time here, but one more thing, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about it. And Jim Hall might unsubscribe if we didn't mention this next one, Roots.
I think so.
That's right, Jim. Tetris Effect Connected. Over 4 years ago, we launched Tetris Effect on PS4 and PSVR. Has it been 4 years? It must have been 4 fucking years.
That's crazy, man. I was just saying, I remember Anthony saying it's just Tetris in VR.
Yeah, right. Reinventing a classic and delivering a whole new experience, one that you've never seen or heard or felt before in any other Tetris game. It wasn't easy, but the overwhelming positive reception motivated and pushed us further to evolve this title as Connected with the multiplayer expansion. Today, we're excited to announce Tetris Effect Connected is coming to PS5 and PSVR 2 on February 22nd. With eye tracking enabled, you can now enter the zone by closing and then opening your eyes. You can also feel key moments of the game and your actions through the headset feedback and haptic feedback on the DualSense controllers. These enhancements deliver a truly unique Tetris experience. The game is also playable on PS5 without a headset. Owners of the original game will be able to upgrade for $10 US. So this is an interesting one, Roots, because this game already offers a sense of synesthesia unlike any other. Like we've never, and we've raved about this game time and time again. We've never experienced another VR game that kind of melts the senses together the way that Tetris Effect does, with the haptics and the sound and the visuals all in sync, in unison, while at the same time doing their own thing. And that's not even to talk about, the gameplay. With the next gen features of the PSVR 2, basically everything that made Tetris Effect special in the first place is going to be amplified now by 10. This is going to be a very unique and special experience, I feel like.
I think so as well. And it's funny because whenever we talk about this game, you get two sides of people saying, I don't get it. And that, it's just Tetris. I don't see the love for this. For a lot of it, okay. And then the other end is Stephen Jeffrey says, when the board turns upside down, the soundtrack on this can sometimes bring me to tears. So many beautiful messages in this game. And that's the thing is I get it. I guess there are people that are going to go into it and they're just going to focus on the game. They're going to say it's Tetris, man, with some cool graphics. But it's the way that everything syncs together, the music, the haptics, the play, the speed of it, you know, the chimes, the certain chimes and things pick up and as you're going along, and as you're going through the game, you'll hit a point where like you hit a point in the thing where shit's just, it's like the game is trying to be as distracting as it can be and you're still trying to focus on it. There's something about it. It's more than, it's an experience in a game and it's special. I get it. If some people just aren't, if they just aren't open to seeing it, they're not going to see it. But it's, if you haven't tried it, I think it's worth going in and checking out. And I think you're right. I think this new version of it is going to be the best way to play it. I mean, the best way for me before was on PCVR because it was so graphically intensive, but now this is going to go to the next level. And so, yeah, this is one that I would love to check out because, I enjoyed the first one so much.
Yeah. True OLED blacks, bright colors. Again, this thing's going to be rumbling your face now, not just your hands. And,
you know who else loves to rumble your face, Wes?
I
My
do.
mom.
Oh, yeah, she does.
So, like you mentioned it, the kind of hook with this is they're providing this overwhelming artistic sensory experience. But behind all that's Tetris. And a lot of the times the challenge of that end of it is just being able to focus through all of this stimulation that they're giving you. I imagine that that's going to become even more difficult now. The game gets very fast paced, almost traumatic, to where you start having nightmares about that bong when things just start falling like rain. You know, one of the cool things about this, Roots, is I never played the multiplayer in it yet. So
I wonder if that'll be better with the eye tracking too.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll tell you what will be better with the eye tracking. One of the things I struggled with in the first time I played through Tetris Effect was the new mechanics. Like the zone mode is a cool new twist on Tetris, but I never could remember the button to hit to enable it. And the timing on that thing is crucial. You need to hit it at the right time. Now you don't have to hit a button, man. All you got to do is close your eyes and you're in the zone.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible.
That is cool. Yeah, I think it's cool. I really enjoyed it. Just watching this trailer makes me want to go back in and play it again because it was I don't know. It was just something that I've never experienced in VR before or since. So super cool.
So looks like the Niners are up by a touchdown.
We
Dallas
knew they
has
would be.
the
Jenna
ball.
Sequoia, suck it. No, just kidding. Sorry, Jenna. I know you're a big Dallas fan, but you know they're going to lose. I have to side with Wes here.
They have 14 seconds to pull a Hail Mary out from their end of the field. So,
well, yeah. What's the betting going on it? Because that's how things are going to sway. I'm one of those people that have kind of convinced that it's all decided to some extent. You know who's going to win the season by the end of the year, and then they try to. I mean, there's too many weird calls when it all said and done. That
yeah.
And there's so much money being bet that it'd be naive to not think that something's not weird on it.
For sure, there are cricket officials in every sport because of all that money. You're right. But my team's winning, so
yeah, there you go. That's all that matters.
Suck it, losers. All right. So yeah, super excited for Tetris Effect. I'll gladly give them my $10 for a next gen upgrade. It sounds like they're going to put all those new features to good use, and this just goes to show what we said was true. Like, there is a middle ground. I mean, it's not just free or full price. You can charge an upgrade fee and monetize the work that you put into porting these games over. And I feel like they're doing it the right way here.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so that is our show. That's going to bring us into a few reminders before we say goodbye. First of all, I want to remind everyone about the 2022 show giveaway next Sunday on this very program. Pretty much the whole giveaways, because not only are we going to be giving away or naming our second chance giveaway winners, but Roots I have a feeling that Oprah might show up as well with some keys for the people in chat.
I think she will. She just loves giving stuff away, and she loves to be shocked. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I held back. I held back some a few that I didn't earmark for giveaways just in case shit happened, and shit hasn't happened yet. So we'll just hand those keys out, assuming that we don't need them at the time. In addition to that, one of the studios that I requested giveaway keys from before the 2022 show actually got back to me after the 2022 show and gave me some keys.
That's awesome.
So one of 2022's top releases, we're going to be giving it away next week on this show. So you're not going to want to miss it. Those of you who have won and haven't claimed your prize yet, please do. Like eventually, I'll go through the papers and figure out who hasn't claimed their prizes and try to reach out. But you would make it so much easier on me if you just say, "Hey, I won X, Y, and Z, and I would like to have X."
Yeah.
And if you do that, I'll get you your key right away. Unless you won Wanderer. Well, we're still waiting on those keys, and it'll probably be a little while before we get them, because we have to have all the winners, have all the platforms, and then send that in, and then they're going to send us the keys. So it'll probably be sometime next week before we have the Wanderer keys. But everything else we've got right now. So yeah, you guys just let me know the winners that haven't claimed yet. Hit me up on Discord. If you haven't already, go check out the 2022 show. It is now time stamped all the way through. Every award, every giveaway, it's all right there in the time bar. So you can pick up where you left off and enter the giveaways so that next week you're not left out.
I'm feeling a little guilty. I still have yet to film more and set. I have to segment it into 4 segments and then upload it onto the audio version.
That's true. That's true.
Because there's only so much. Like I think you can only do 3 hours at a time and per segment or something weird stuff.
Something else I want to do too. If you've still got that Brian Paul segment.
Yes, actually, I need to upload it. I didn't have access to do that to upload before, so I don't know if I do now, but I will.
There was a little more cut off of that than I had originally thought. I thought it was just the very tail end of it, but it actually cut off while we were talking about Wanderer. And I want to make sure that
you guys missed it
out there.
Yeah, we got the whole thing out there. It's still there. It's not deleted. Just have to upload it, and we'll re-upload that for anybody of any of the Game Cats that wanted to hear that full conversation.
I'm not sure I'll publish it and put it out like that, but there will be a link. No, everyone can do it. It'll just be an unlisted link. You'll have to click into the link to watch it. Okay. I'll post it up on Discord and maybe on Twitter or something, so everybody that wants to watch it can. Cool. Of course, we'd like to remind you guys, as we always do, to take a moment with us right now and wishlist the game. It's a big deal for these developers who have been so kind to us. These guys are struggling trying to get their games out there for people. And the least we can do is take a moment to click on a button and help raise their profile. So I'm actually going to go. You know what I'm going to do, Roots? I wonder if Windlands 2 has a page up there.
Oh, that's a good idea. I was just thinking because I don't really have much access to do a PlayStation VR thing right now, but I could absolutely do a quest probably.
We're going to find out.
Continue with Facebook. Of course. I never separated my account. Did you separate your account?
Yeah, I did actually.
I just figured, you know what? Like, the world's so weird now anyway. What's the difference? You know? All right, let me look this up. Windlands 2.
Yeah, I don't see a page for it.
Well, you know, maybe it's gonna not come in. Maybe it's coming to App Lab, huh?
Maybe.
I see the Climb 2 on sale for $20.
You know what the odd thing is that Windlands, the original, is on App Lab, and your search for Windlands 2 doesn't bring it up in the search results.
I don't know. I guess I'm not doing Windlands or Windlands 2 as my thing. What a weird. Well, I mean, have they really set a date yet? I mean, I don't know. I can't remember on the commercial or what I've seen of that Windlands 2 trailer.
It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Just like all VR games are coming soon.
Daniel Kaz deleted his Facebook. What? How dare you?
How dare you?
Greta would be disappointed. Well, actually, she might think that you're clearing your carbon footprint. I don't know. I don't know how she thinks.
All right, so I'm going to wishlist a PlayStation VR game because that's the only thing out right now that I even care about anyway. So
I'm going to later when I can relog in. I don't even know if I have since I redid my thing, if I am able to pull that up right now on the fly.
I'm going to wishlist Switchback in spite of its
Delay.
which it still reads 2/22/23 on its store page.
Maybe it's still coming. I'll tell
maybe
you
there's
what
some
though.
hope.
Yeah, there's still hope. I'm going to when I get a chance to, I'm going to wishlist Tetris Effect 2 or the sequel or whatever you call it. Just for all the naysayers out there that say it's just Tetris, man. It's just Tetris with the best haptics and music and overall experience. That experience that somebody said that it kind of brought them to tears. That's kind of how I felt in a lot of ways. It was very emotional, very super cool, just how everything worked together. And I question your soul. No, I don't question your soul, but I think people should be more open to checking it out if they haven't tried it. Now, like Spry Guy said, he really didn't get it, and I get, he probably did try it. So
yeah, give it a shot. If you don't like it, you don't like it. This is another one on PlayStation that you can get from GameFly, which is a pretty good deal if you buy like the 6-month gift certificate. It doesn't cost that much.
Yeah,
but even at that, you should be able to find physical copies at GameStop, used pretty cheap. So yeah, everyone should check this one out. That brings us to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support us, our channel, and our community. Of course, the best way you can do that is by subscribing and clicking the like button. How many people are in the chat? How many people have clicked the thumbs up? I bet you all haven't done it. Everybody click the stuff, man. It helps us out a lot. And we have big plans for this year. So if you guys could kind of help push us to the next level, that would be very much appreciated.
I'm sorry. I totally did. I should always be clicking it. Like, what the hell's wrong with me, man?
Roots, while we weren't doing content, we put on nearly 200 subscribers.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good I mean, you're over there bringing them in, all the game cats in, into the fold, and we appreciate all of you. But yeah, that's really good, actually.
Thank you, Joshua Taylor. We very much appreciate it. If you guys want to do a little something extra to support us, you can support us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you'll get access to our weekly show notes, insider updates, and exclusive content, all for less than $1 per week. And you get peace of mind. You can sleep. You can lay down and sleep at night knowing that you did your part. And I want to shout out the patrons. While all these people were subscribing while we were away, we had some new patrons come in. We had some existing patrons up their donations substantially. And I can't tell you how much that means right now, because we have multiple things that are that require money right now. Not the least of which is I'm starting to travel around, and I haven't taken any of the money for travel expenses yet, but I probably will soon. And because Vegas broke me, bro. It broke me. But there's other stuff too, other stuff going on, other show related stuff, expenses that have popped up unexpectedly. So it's very timely that people are giving a little bit more. We very, very much appreciate it. And you don't know how awesome and how helpful it is. So shout out to the patrons, new and old. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely.
Last but not least, there's our Discord. Now, you don't have to pay a thing to join us on Discord, and this is where our community lives. It's where we get together to play games. It's where we rub it in people's face when our football team beats their football team in the playoffs.
Oh, that's
It's where
happening.
it's where we share jokes and music. It's our own little safe space, and you're all invited. There's a link in the description down below. Just give it a click and say hello. I assure you, we'll all be there to greet you at the door. All right. All right, I'm getting in on the ass end of conversations that I'm not privy to. So, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you in a few days. Bye.
Take it easy.